Well. YouTube been tripping on me today, but we got it going. Let's get it. Man. Well. We got these cuts today, 53-man roster, other teams with players available. Sound like Brian Schottenheimer said, we ain't through shopping. I'm getting more and more excited as next Thursday approach. Let's go. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy heads. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this video, don't forget at the end or during this live to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And we are live. And if you haven't become a channel member or subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming up this season. Now let's talk facts. Man, I am telling y'all, the Cowboys, I don't really think they did anything today that was really a surprise, other than maybe Trayshawn Holden. But other than that, I think this roster was already very limited as far as what the Cowboys are going to be able to add or subtract. But nevertheless, these are our topics for today. So, Brian Schottenheimer interview, in case you haven't seen it, we're going to watch it again. But you haven't seen it with me, so it's always different. So today we're going to watch the Brian Schottenheimer interview, kind of break down some of the things that he said, and kind of see what may be coming over the next 3 to 4 days. Next, we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys' final 53-man roster. And we should put a question mark by that, because I don't think this is the final 53-man roster, maybe depending upon what's available. Then, we're going to talk about the significant cuts. And what I mean by the significant cuts, the cuts that may have cut some of the Dallas Cowboy fan base. I think some of the Dallas Cowboy fan base may be upset by some of these cuts that the Cowboys made, but nevertheless, those cuts, I believe, had to be made. Then, I want to look around the NFL to see what are the cuts of interest to the Dallas Cowboys, because there are some cuts out there that I've already seen some rumblings about that people are saying the Cowboys need to jump on this, Cowboys need to jump on that. So we're going to talk about that in this today also. Then finally, we're going to go over to 105.3 The Fan, and we're going to check out and see what did Brian Broaddus and the G-Bag Nation have to say about these cuts today. So, and anything breaking news, anything, y'all let me know. We'll break it right here for the whole chat. So, Shotty interview, final 53 significant cuts, NFL cuts of interest, 105.3 The Fan, and breaking news. Let's go. All right, and now let's introduce the best chat on YouTube. Roll call, and then we're gonna get right into this. Let's go. Man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I am so late. I'm telling you, YouTube I had all kinds of technical difficulties. Something was wrong with my channel today, but nevertheless,
Yo, G, bless him.
Alfredo Morales, 5300 in the crib. Welcome to the congregation. What's going on? Yeah, Alfredo, that was maybe the only surprise well, I don't know if it was the only surprise, but that probably was a surprise for a lot of people. That was a surprise. Eyes on the hoodie, what's going on? He says time to switch to 1 minute 8. Hey, man, I had to get this thing going. Let's go. Big Moss Dog up in here. What up with you? Good to see you. My right-hand man, Daniel here. What's going on? Let's get this thing going. Newhouse fam, regular up in here. What's going on, Newhouse fam? Let's get this thing going today. All right, let's get a little further down. My sister, Brandy Mahoney, what is going on with you? Good to see you. Bruce, not associated with Bruce Wayne up in here. What's going on with you? He said the Carolina Panthers released Shy Tuttle. There are a couple of people out there the Cowboys probably should be looking at that one tech position, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to look at that more as we keep going. What's going on? Richard Villegas in the congregation. What's going on? Inglewood Trojans, I see you up in here. And the regular Dominique Pittman. What's going on? Lord Nova 85 in the crib. Dak owns Filthy. Dak owns Filthy. Man, I am excited for next Thursday. I believe the Cowboys have an opportunity to blow the absolute doors off the Eagles. And we'll talk about that more next week. Sam Rios, what up with you? Good to see you up in here. All right, Superman 6019. He said they should have cut Joe Milton. You already know where I am on this. Duckface, what up with you? Quack, quack. They don't know nothing about that from BET comedy back in the day. All right, let's go. Justin Bradley, let's get on up in here. Yes, sir. Cowboys for life. What up with you? He said, what up, chat? Davion Wallace, what's going on with you, my man? He said, oh, hopefully Holden makes it back. Yeah, we're going to talk about Holden. Jamalism, up in the crib. He said the best show on YouTube. You said it, so I can't help but agree with you. Let's go. He said, so happy Winfrey made it. Man, me too. Me too. Justin Bradley up in the crib. Rose up in this thing. What's going on with you, Rose? I see you. Ty Howard, he said, yo, G, bless him. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, my man, Poobie D up in here. I get to act the fool tonight. What's going on, Poobie D? All right, let's get a couple of more here, then we're going to get this thing going. JCT Slice up in the crib. Let's get this thing going. Welcome to the congregation. Jason White up in here. Yes, sir. That's why I said we need to put a question mark by that roster. Put a question mark by it. Ice Cold Cowboy. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you up in here. All right, let's go, let's go. I'm going to get a few more, then we're going to get this thing started. The real Chris Danzler. Salute. Lego, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Oh, I can't forget. Chanel, you can't handle the truth. He said we should not have waived Trayshawn Holden. I agree with you. We're going to talk about him in the second segment. He's a part of the significant cuts. Man, what's going on, Rena Zuguini? Man, hey, he said the best show on YouTube. He said it. Hey, I appreciate you rocking with me. All right, let's go. Carlise Piper, let's go. Let's get this thing going. Robert M, I can never forget Robert M up in here. 31, what's up? Lisa Worley up in here. My sister, what's going on with you? Bam, bam, Gaines, what up with you, fam? Good to see you. David Everett, Bama in the house again. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. Dion Jefferson up in here. Sean Springer, what's going on with you? Ace Way 17. Let's get this thing popping. Let's go. All right, man, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I can't help but acknowledge you guys. You are what makes this channel what it is. I appreciate you all. Let's keep this thing going. What's going on? Kippy Gardner in the crib. Gerald Mays in the congregation. Lost soul. Let's go. All right. Let's get this thing going. Brian Schottenheimer today. I kind of listened to this interview earlier when I was having technical difficulties. And I really thought that Brian Schottenheimer had a very good interview. I thought it was a pretty good interview by Brian Schottenheimer. I really did. I think he kind of answered what he could. And then I think some of the things I'm hoping he's wising up and understanding, bro, you don't have to tell people every doggone thing. You don't have to have the right answer for every doggone thing. Sometimes, bro, you just got to give maybe the politically correct answer, but don't tell your whole hand, bro. But I thought for the most part, he gave a pretty good interview. All right, so let's pick this thing up, man. I'm ready to rock, ready to react, ready to see what y'all think about this. Let's go.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Thought process about keeping two quarterbacks, only 53?
Yeah, well, first, I think, Calvin, what I want to say, number one, is to all the guys that came in today, I just can't thank them enough for all their hard work, and I'd be remiss if I didn't start with that. The mantra of compete every day, these guys have done that. They've bought in. It was hard to sit down in front of those guys and, be honest and tell them the why, tell them the things that they did well, tell them the areas that they can improve. And I think that's important because, anytime you have those hard conversations, whether they're back or not back, which we have some control of, but we don't have all the control of, they hopefully can use the thing that they're given the feedback about to improve themselves as a player. So we tried to do that, myself, the coordinator, the position coach. So first, let me start with that. I know you guys would probably ask me about that. But in terms of two quarterbacks, again, we're always looking at situations. And we know Dak's our starter, and, Joe's the backup. And I thought Joe settled in a little bit. It wasn't perfect, but we feel very good about, Joe and his direction and where he can go. But, again, nothing says we're not done looking around the league at all spots and not just quarterback. There's going to be a lot of names out there in a lot of different positions, and that process has already started for Will and his team, and it'll be a long night tonight and into the morning.
Let me get this out of the way. Y'all know I'm not letting this go. I got to talk about it again. Let me get a couple of more. Let me acknowledge a couple of more people real quick. But I cannot let this go. This is where I begin to have a problem with Brian Schottenheimer. I want to say what's up to Basil DuBose. I see you up in here. I want to say, again, Mike Torres, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Bama Boy Davis, I had to acknowledge you. What's going on? Let me get a couple more in here. Ron Hanna, my man, he's a regular up in here. I had to make sure, see what's going on. He said, what up, G? Just got off work, had to chime in. Surprised about Israel Mukwamu. Yeah, I think a lot of people are surprised about that. Reality Cowboy, what is going on with you? Yeah, they got this man, Mozzie Smith on a short leash. C-Base up in here, my regular. What's going on with you? All right, let me say this. Moose, what's going on? 65004 up in this thing. Polo, what up? Let me say this. I'm very perturbed about the Cowboys quarterback situation. I don't see how any player could take what the Cowboys may tell them. I don't know how any player could really take that to heart. He mentioned again, compete every day. And I'm going to mention this when we get to the significant cuts. You said compete every day. But you got a quarterback that you just said with your own mouth that you think he settled in against the worst team? You're telling me that you're saying that Joe Milton settled in against the worst preseason team that we've probably seen in a long time? The Atlanta Falcons were so bad. They were the first team to start not only cutting, they literally cut the whole team that played against the Cowboys. They cut 12 players. Did you notice what Brian Schottenheimer didn't say? He didn't say Joe Milton competed. He didn't say Joe Milton earned that spot. He could not say anything about Joe Milton. And this goes to something else that he's going to say later on in this interview. Brian has to admit they gave this man the job. They have to admit it. And that's why he can't really, they didn't even ask him about Joe Milton. Did he earn the job? They just like, what's your mindset going with two quarterbacks? Because if it's me, I'm like, no, I'm not worried about the two quarterbacks. Why? Is Joe Milton really the QB2? Because it didn't seem like he earned it. He didn't compete. And for people who say they love the Cowboys, I question those very people because they seem like, to me, they fall in love with certain players. This is not about Joe Milton's feelings. This is not about Joe Milton's love or hate. I am telling y'all, we have a championship level team. And when you have a championship level team, you should be looking for the absolute best backup quarterback you can get. You don't let the developmental quarterback be the backup quarterback. You know how I know this? Because the Cowboys told me as much last season when Trey Lance played the entire preseason, and I'm sorry, but he looked better than Joe Milton, and they relegated him to the third quarterback after a bad third game. So wait a minute. Joe Milton had a bad 2 games against the competition, had a good game against no competition, so we did the reverse this year. We made him the backup. No, the Cowboys need a better backup quarterback and need to have 3 quarterbacks. Let Joe Milton stay on the squad as the emergency quarterback and let him keep working his way up to the second quarterback, but he did not earn it. I'm telling you, if I'm a player for the Cowboys, this is one of those moves that has me looking side-eyed. I'm looking side-eyed when I hear him talk about Joe Milton. I'm sorry, I'm kind of looking kind of like I'm telling you, I'm looking at him side-eyed. I'm looking at him like, come on, bro, come on now. Now, you're gonna hear Brian Schottenheimer later on in this interview. Brian Schottenheimer is actually going to give us the answer to this question, even though a lot of people don't realize he did. Brian Schottenheimer is really going to give us the real answer to why they let this dude be the backup quarterback. Let me get a couple of these comments in here. Yeah, because I'm with you guys on what you're saying. Lead Time Baby, what up with you in here? Good to see you. Welcome to the congregation. Let me see up in here. Dominique Pittman said, man, if Dak gets hurt, we're picking in the top 5 of the draft. You know what? Facts. I'm telling you absolute facts. Truth. Absolute truth. Dominique Pittman, the only thing that makes sense is that the Cowboys feel like that Dak Prescott, coming off this injury in the best shape of his life, is going to be healthy the entire season. Healthy the entire season. That's the only thing that makes sense. There is nowhere else this makes sense. And anybody who has truly watched this team understands it. No, Joe Milton did not play himself into the number 2, into the backup quarterback role for the Cowboys. You can't play yourself into the backup role when there's no one you to compete against, number 1. And then number 2, you played against literally, I'm telling you, I don't think there was a worse preseason team than the doggone third game for the Falcons. Man, those boys was atrocious. They were so bad, even the Atlanta Falcons knew it. Atlanta Falcons cut all them boys almost. There's 22 players that play. There's 22 players that play on offense and defense. The Atlanta Falcons cut 12 players, man. Come on. And I guarantee you some of them ones they got cut today, they will some of them if they didn't cut them that day after, they cut some more of them today. It's a shame. It's a shame. Bama Boy Davis, 1 injury away from a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. Exactly. I'm telling you, they have to be totally dependent upon Dak staying healthy. Unless they go and get somebody else in this thing. Mike Sage said, I just think Shotty just opened the playbook more for Milton in the last game. Against the worst team? Okay. I'm going to let you tell that. But we've seen Joe Milton, and we're in denial. We've seen Joe Milton. Because at the end of the day, if you can't do well with a little, you're not going to be able to do well with a lot. And when you put him against another team that's going to be good, you watch what I tell you. He's going to look totally different. But again, I already know the answer to this question. I'm going to show you that even Brian Schottenheimer is going to give the answer to this question. What is going on, Darren Posey? He said, pew, pew, pew. Yes, sir. I'm going to show you. that Brian Schottenheimer is going to give us all the answer to this question in just a moment. Katharina Kiss, what's going on? Let's let this thing keep going. I'm still riding with Schotty. I'm still riding with him because I think that Jerry can't control him. Jerry can't control him once we get between those white lines. He can't control him. He's not going to call down and call the plays. He can't control him. So as long as we stay healthy, Brian will get to do exactly what Brian wants to do.
When Childress, they were competing, what was the thought process there between keeping Childress?
Yeah, younger player. I mean, again, Keemon's a special young man, good football player, very physical. Zion's instincts from the beginning have jumped off the film at us. Just his physicality, the way he can play as a blitzer, the way he can fill the B gap, and tough decision. But usually when you're dealing with two players that are very, very close, you tend to go with the younger guy.
Clarence Hill, DLLS Cowboys.
Dominique Pittman, I don't want to believe this, but I believe that there may be some truth to something wasn't quite right about Dak Prescott, it seemed. Maybe it wasn't. It seemed like there was something not quite right with Dak Prescott. A lot of people were saying that. And I'm starting to say that, yeah, Dak might not have been quite right. He might not have been quite right, but hey, nevertheless, he looks good this year. So we're going to see, because he's doing some stuff this training camp that he definitely wasn't doing last training camp.
And we're going to get back to the roster moves today. But just the Micah update, did you talk to him Sunday about his
yes, sir, Lou
language, number one?
Yeah, Mike and I had a long conversation. Probably talked for an hour about a lot of different things and addressed a number of different issues and things like that. And at this point, I'm going to keep that between he and I. But we had a very, very good conversation.
Okay, moving forward, obviously this is all about September 4th. I know you say you believe he's going to be on the field. When does he need to get to practice and ramp up to get to that point where you can be confident he can play against the Eagles?
Yeah, well, I think, again, that's always the story, it's different for everybody. The fact he's been here gives him a little bit of a leg up on the fact that he knows the defense, and that could be a completely different story if he wasn't here. But at the end of the day, I think once we want him out there as soon as possible. And when he's feeling up to it and all those things is a big factor into it. But every day that he can get out there and get reps would be great. But I do think very strongly that him being around has helped. Him doing some of the walkthroughs and things like that does help. There's communication. There's signals that come from the sideline. There's communication from player to player that he's getting all those things. But the best way to get good at football is to play football. And so I would say as soon as possible would be the desired effect.
Is there a deadline? I know just for game day, since it's
just one more screenshot.
on the Thursday, obviously.
Yeah.
Y'all start practice on Friday, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to treat it as a normal week. We have a bonus Monday on Friday, and, then they get their day off. The league has a number of rules where they have to get certain days off, Clarence. But, at the end of the day, as soon as he can get out there, that's great. But, again, there'll be a ramp-up plan for him. And, when he lines up out there to play, do I think he would play 75 plays in every play? Probably not. I don't think that that's real. But I do think that he can be very disruptive, like we all know.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. Has he given you assurance that he'll practice? Did that come up in your talks?
No, just again, he wants to make sure he feels good and all that.
Of course, I'm sure, we're talking about Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, we're talking about the back injury, which I think is going to strangely go away once Micah Parsons signs that contract. But I think that Trevon Diggs is kind of giving us some insight on Micah Parsons and why I don't think that his latest thing about tightness in the back is actually going to hold up. Because Trevon Diggs, in reality, told off on him in the interview because Trayvon Diggs said that he has been working out. Trayvon Diggs said not only has he been working out, but he works out in the morning and he works out after practice. I think one of the things that he's saying is that Michael Parsons is working out when the cameras aren't on. So I full well believe that once they get this thing signed with Michael Parsons, he's going to be ready to go. Because he's been working out. He just hasn't been working out with the cameras on. He'll be ready to go. And the Cowboys won't need him anyway for as many snaps as he would normally play. They won't need him for as many snaps. They won't. They'll be able to ease him back in. They'll be able to ease Michael Parsons back in, and Michael Parsons will be fine. Yep, Michael Parsons will be absolutely fine. And so the Cowboys are going to be ready to go. The Cowboys are going to be ready to go. And again, y'all hang tight. We're going to talk about this thing with Trayshawn Holden. Chanel made a very good comment about this thing with the wide receivers. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Stuff, but again, like I said, I haven't changed my tune on the way I feel, and like I said, very, very good conversation about a lot of different things. So, power communication, I think, is great, and having the conversations with him, but even having the conversations with some of the players today, it just reminds you the people side of this business is really important. And had a great conversation with Mozzie. Brought Mozzie in, talked to Mozzie, just same topic. Just, hey, consistency. It doesn't matter that you're a first-round pick. It's just we want to see you be more consistent. We know what you're capable of, and again, that's one of my things it's important to me is to find time to have conversations, and because I think it matters.
Today's obviously a day you had to deliver bad news to guys that they're not.
He kind of brought up Mozzie. And it makes me wonder, would Mozzie be on another team? With what Mozzie has been over the last 2 years, I guess it is. I just wonder if he would be on another team. But again, he's a first-round draft pick, and I think that's a part of this. He's a first-round draft pick, and Cowboys don't want to just say, we were wrong on this first-round draft pick. And Mozzie, like I said, he played well with Zimmer. I'm wondering how he's going to play with Flus, because he didn't play as good with Dan, but that was his rookie season. But he definitely showed improvement under Zimmer. I'm concerned, what will he look like under Flus? But we're going to see how this turns out, because, again, there are some players out there. This may be one of those cases where maybe Mozzie is rotating in at the 3. And maybe the Cowboys go out there and get themselves a 1. But we'll continue to monitor that. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Not making the team, but do you ever deliver good news to guys to say, hey, you made it?
It actually happened today. I'll share it with you guys. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing it. So we brought Perion Winfrey in, and he assumed he was being cut. And so he walked in, sat down in my office, and Will and I were in there, McClay and I were in there, and I did play it up a little bit. I was a pretty good actor, if I do say so myself, probably being kind of a jackass for doing it. But I said, hey, these are hard days, and there's a lot of hard conversations that have to happen, but this is one I've really been looking forward to, because I'm telling you, you've made the team. And he became very emotional. And then I became emotional, and I looked over at McClay. He was emotional. And that's certainly something when you talk about a guy that's had this amazing game taken away from him, and you really realize how much these players love this game, what they sacrifice to play this game, what they have to, give up and go through, and the pounding it takes on their bodies. But the emotion of it, seeing Perion react like that, showed me two things. It showed me the passion that he has for this game, but also the pain that he's had to go through, having it taken away from him and not knowing whether this would work out or not. And I told him, I said, the reason we wanted to do it is I wanted to see your reaction, because I figured you would react like this, and he did not disappoint. Special young man.
I'm sure with the Athletic.
If there is one player that I am absolutely elated that made this Cowboys team, it is Perion Winfrey. Calvin Watkins had reported that Perion Winfrey had been cut. Falsely reported it. He said he got mixed up. Perion Winfrey is definitely one of those guys that if Perion Winfrey would have got cut, I would have been tripping. Perion Winfrey played so good on that interior defensive line for the Cowboys, it's insane. I don't think they could have justified anybody on the interior line, Jay Toya, Mozzie. I don't think they could have justified anybody making the team if Perion Winfrey didn't make it. I mean, they'd have lost all credibility on they would have lost all credibility on that one. All credibility. Perion Winfrey, to me, is one of those guys you want on your team. Absolute getting it out of the mud dog, saying, this is my last chance. I got to get it. You want this guy on your team. He playing with, and Brian got to understand something. I don't think Brian truly understands what some of us may understand. When this is all you have, when something is all you have, it's the difference between you consider life and death. Boy, some of us know what I'm talking about. We got it out the mud, born in the hood, raised in the hood. Man, you have a different level of thinking than most people. They're playing the game because it's fun, they love it, and you are too. But you got an added incentive. Man, I'm trying to feed my family. I'm trying to feed my family, man. This is pretty much all I know how to do. Man, this dude, Perion Winfrey, he is one of the, I am so glad this dude made the team, man. So glad this dude made the team. Straight up dog for the Dallas Cowboys. And I think this dude is going to push other players on this team. Check him out some more.
What made the difference for Mozzie Smith for you guys to keep him on the roster? Obviously, he was playing in the final preseason game.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a fair question, and that was part of the conversation with Mozzie, that, hey, nothing is guaranteed. We're all competing, and you've got your 53-man roster, but then you've got your game day roster. And, again, the message was the same. I thought Mozzie had two of his best practices last week. Thought he played well, had flashes during the game. Just okay yesterday. And so, again, the conversation and having hard conversations, some coaches might be like, yeah, hey, I'll just deal with that when we get back. But I wanted Mozzie to know that, this has nothing to do with you being a first-round draft pick. There's an
Yes, it does. I love you, Brian. But it does. This has a lot to do with Mozzie Smith being a first-round pick. The Cowboys want to give this young man every opportunity to succeed. I don't know, right or wrong or indifferent, to say that this has nothing to do with Mozzie Smith being a first-round draft pick it just can't be a true statement. If Mozzie Smith was an undrafted free agent, I don't think he makes the team. If Mozzie was a 7th-round draft pick, 6th-round draft pick, maybe he doesn't make the team. But when you're a first-round draft pick, man, especially on the Cowboys, bro, we just don't believe in throwing away draft capital. We're going to give you every opportunity to succeed at some point. I mean, heck, we don't even like giving up draft picks. If we trade for you, we don't like giving up those traded draft picks. We're going to give you every opportunity to succeed. So I just can't buy the fact that he's saying that this has nothing to do with Mozzie being a first-round draft pick, because the reality is it does. That's why the expectations on Mozzie are so high. I mean, the reality is maybe if he wasn't a first-round draft pick, maybe people would actually be like, man, he's playing pretty good for a 6th or 7th round draft pick. He's playing pretty good for a 5th round draft pick. But a 1st round draft pick? Nah, bro. You can't tell me this ain't got something to do with it. It absolutely does. It does. It has something to do with it, for sure. Darren Posey, he said, G, do you think they've held on to Deion Booth because Jerry and them thinks we have an all-world coaching staff utilizing him to his strengths? Darren Posey, appreciate that super chat. Darren Posey, you got to make it make sense to me. How does a player who is post-Toasties, I mean, he is post-Toasties from the preseason of 2024 to the preseason of 2025, but he picks off Cooper Rush of all people. Y'all already know. We got to keep it a beam. Cooper Rush beyond 10 yards is a liability. Cooper Rush beyond 10 yards is a liability. Cooper Rush on a comeback, Cooper Rush on a dig, Cooper Rush on an out is a liability. Go back and look at any of the Cowboys tape. It's no wonder it was Booth. I mean, it's no wonder it was Cooper Rush. For Booth to make the team based on one interception and pick six is banana bonkers to me. And for Israel Mukwamu to be cut, it is absolutely bonkers. Somebody got to tell me what they saw. Darren Posey, somebody got to tell me what they saw. I looked at the interception. The wide receiver didn't even seem to know where the ball was. Cooper Rush basically threw the ball to Booth. Yes, did Booth? Okay, he was bailing, and then the next drive, I guess he kind of fooled Cooper Rush. Rush thought he was going to bail. He sat on the route. But it was a poorly thrown ball. If you go, see, and people hate when you talk football, especially when it justifies something that they want. They hate when you talk football. But Darren Posey, you and I both know, when we go back and look at the film on that throw, if Cooper Rush is really throwing that to his receiver, and I really would like to know, like, what was the route this receiver's running? Because he looked confused. But if I'm Cooper Rush, I'm going to put that ball more inside because Booth is kind of playing outside. He put that ball outside, and maybe it was supposed to be an out route, back shoulder, whatever. I don't know. But whatever the case was, Booth sat on that particular route, pick six it, runs it in like Deion. That's why you call him Deion Booth. They finna give him, Darren Posey, they finna give him number 21 when the season starts. Andrew Booth pick sixes this thing, and they take him out of the game, and they're done. They basically said, we've seen enough. Booth with a pick six, second preseason game, made the team. End of story. I don't understand it. I don't understand it, Darren Posey. I don't understand it. I mean, I don't even know what are the strengths we're talking about here. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I can't explain it. There is no way I'm keeping in any universe or alternate universe. I'm not keeping Booth over Israel Mukwamu. There is no way. There is no way. But I think Brian's going to answer this for us in a minute.
Expectation of you as a player because of how talented you are, and we've seen it. We just need to see it on more of a consistent basis, and, gave him my input. We had.
Yep, Brian, but we have to admit, my brother, this man's a first-round draft pick. People don't want to give up on this. The Cowboys definitely don't want to give up on this dude because the Cowboys want to prove at some point they're right.
Great conversation about, how we can help him and him figuring out his routine and getting his body feeling better and things like that. it's the power of spoken words, man, where you just get on the same page. And that way, if there's a misunderstanding.
Football fanatic. He said Mozzie on his last leg. My man, football fanatic, what up? He said Mozzie on his last leg.
Understanding, it's not because I didn't have the courage to have a conversation. It's a misunderstanding because something was said that maybe they didn't like, and Mozzie didn't take it that way at all. It was a great conversation, but I just feel like you over communicate as a leader that sits in a role like I do.
And kind of a weird question, but do you have final say on all 53? Because there are a lot of people.
Uh-oh. I think that's John Machota. Or I think that's Machota. He's about to ask the question that's about to give us the answer to all the questions. Y'all ready?
People that believe that, for example, with Mozzie, that he's a first-round pick and Jerry Jones is going to be like, Brian, we used a first-round pick on him. He has to be on the team.
Yeah, again, I've never felt one time pressured to do this or that because I don't feel like we have to because we have such good communication, you know?
Listen to how Brian is answering this question. He didn't say that Jerry don't have input. He said, I've never felt like that there was pressure. Why do you not feel like there's pressure? Okay, Brian, let's hear the rest of it.
And at the end of the day, this is something that I want to do collectively. Like I want to do the cuts with Will. I want Will to be in there. I want these guys to hear the same message. And I think it's important that it's not just me. Some of these guys, Will's been around longer than I have. He knows them.
I couldn't afford a team, but I built one anyway.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a different approach, guys, don't you think?
Why they were drafted, when they were drafted, and things like that. And so to me, at the end of the day, I've never and will never look at this situation in terms of, hey, you know, I have to have this. I remember Bill Parcells. I remember hearing it, you know. He about to take a little dig at Parcells. Here we go. Many years ago, I think it was here, you know, if you're gonna, what was the comment? If you're gonna cook the food, you need to, you know, buy the groceries or whatever it is. And I think the game has changed quite a bit from them. So at the end of the day, I never look at it that way. And we will always do things around here collectively.
Brian. I know you can't tell the truth. But Bill Parcells has a point. If you're telling me my job is on the line, my job is on the line for wins and losses, then I want the doggone option to not keep a player like Mozzie Smith. I'm just using Mozzie as an example. I'm not telling you I don't want Mozzie. But what I am telling you is that if you're telling me that my job is predicated upon wins and losses, and we're collectively deciding to keep a player that I actually don't want to keep, no, you have your own opinion. This league is not a democracy. The one thing that always bothers me about people when they try to turn a meritocracy into a democracy. When someone tries to turn decisions into, okay, let's take a vote and see what everyone says. Hold on. So we're going to take a vote on what everyone says. So let me ask a question real quick before we take this vote. So whose job is on the line if we lose? No, Brian. This league has not changed. It is a meritocracy. It's a meritocracy. Whoever performs the best, somebody ought to be able to say, this is why this player is here, because he's better than everyone else, and I don't want to keep this player. Yeah, that's how you win Super Bowls. Yeah. You don't win Super Bowls with a democracy. You win Super Bowls like Jimmy would. Hey, I don't want that guy. No, I don't want him. No, we're trading him. We're cutting him. I don't want him because he is not what I'm looking for. This is a fancy way. I'm still rolling with Brian. I understand he can't say it. But this right here reeks. It reeks of, yeah, Jerry's involved. Because for all the folks who keep hating on Jerry Jones, the same folks hating on Jerry Jones are the same folks that the Cowboys didn't cut Mozzie Smith. John Machota is hitting it right on the head whether people want to admit it or not. No, Mozzie is on this team because of Jerry. Period in the story. Period in the story. Mozzie is on this team. That don't mean Mozzie can't play. But I'm telling you, that's why he's answering this the way. Because he's basically saying that collectively, they decided that Mozzie was staying on the team. Yeah, I bet you did. Tell me who that collection is. Tell me who that collection is. Tell me who them folks are. Because I guarantee you one of them is Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. Hey. Spend a first-round draft pick. This is the same thing they did to Deuce Vaughn. They forced Deuce Vaughn on Mike McCarthy, and they never had a plan for him. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike McCarthy did not want him nor Dan Quinn wanted Mozzie. They didn't want Mozzie. At least that's what my recollection is. Mozzie can play. But sometimes, guys, we have to admit there are certain players that just don't fit what you're trying to do. That's why you got to get players that fit your system. I don't think Mozzie ever fit the system that Dan Quinn wanted to run. And it's yet to be seen if he's going to fit the system that Flus is going to run. And again, I'm telling y'all, thankfully, Flus's defense is not predicated upon a one tech. Flus's defense is predicated upon a three tech. And so this is another issue that maybe they're looking at it. Maybe this is why they want to see if they can mix him up in some kind of rotation. Star Guardian next. Appreciate that super chat. Star Guardian X. I agree with you. The Joneses will never give up all power. And I'm gonna tell you why they won't give up all power. Y'all know I'm a Jerry Jones apologist when I feel like he's right from an objective standpoint. But I'll also tell you what I know about Jerry Jones from observation. Jerry Jones, if you pay attention to the Netflix special, Jerry Jones has a fear of not getting credit. Jerry Jones has a fear. Jerry Jones wants to have his fingerprint on if the Cowboys win. He doesn't want anyone to say that he didn't have input on the Cowboys winning. That was very important to Jerry Jones. That Netflix documentary, and I appreciate Jerry Jones for allowing some of the things in that he allowed in, because that was one of the biggest takeaways from that Netflix special. Jerry wants to be credited as someone who knows something about football. That players that he believes in matter. Guess who he believes in? You can tell by the way they stay on the team. Mozzie. We can tell he likes Joe Milton. Somebody likes Dion Booth. Dion Booth, as Harry Posey called him. You could tell that somebody wanted to draft Deuce Vaughn, even though the coaching staff, I don't think they wanted him. They never had a plan for him. You can always tell those types of players. And so Brian is giving the very politically correct answer. I understand. You don't want to be up there saying I'm not a puppet, and you don't want to be talking against Jerry Jones. Yes, I 100% agree with you. But we got to say the part that we know that there seems to be some truth to is that committee. Jerry Jones is on that committee. And Mozzie is here. We got to all be honest. Mozzie is here because he's a first-round draft pick. There's no doubt about it.
Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Can you talk about the trade with the Saints today and Austin Richards and how that came about?
Yeah, again.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that reality Cowboys. Stay tuned.
You know, Austin's played games for us, and, you know, we drafted him. He's done some good things. You know, more than likely it looked like he was going to be a guy we were going to release, and the Saints felt very strongly that this was a player that they had targeted, that they wanted, and rather than take a chance on losing him, they wanted to make the trade, and we felt good to get, you know, something for someone that was probably going to get released.
And then I would assume one of the tougher conversations was with Deuce Vaughn. Can you talk about...
Now, in case y'all don't know this, Austin Richards, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Cowboys got like a 6th-round draft pick for him. Do y'all know we don't get the draft pick until 2028? I mean, I guess it makes sense if you were going to cut him. I mean, I guess it makes sense. At least you got something for him. But the Cowboys don't get the player until 2028. Okay.
His preseason and his outlook moving forward.
Yeah, you know, had a great conversation with Deuce. Such an incredible young man. Damn good football player. So those are the hard ones. But again, you have real conversations, Nick. You sit down and you say, hey, look, you know, at this point, this is about what's in the best interest of you, Deuce. And sometimes a change of scenery is a good thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, if that's what he decides, then we certainly support that in terms of, you know, however the practice squad thing plays itself out. But, you know, I could not speak enough great things about Deuce and the type of football player he is. But it also speaks to the fact that you can't just be an offensive or defensive player. You have to have other roles. You have to do multiple things. And, you know, unfortunately, the special teams part of it, when you're a 3rd or 4th runner, or you're a 5th or 6th receiver, or you're a, you know, 4th or 5th safety, whatever it plays out, if you don't have other roles and you're doing those roles at a high level, then unfortunately you become a guy that you're on the bubble, and then decisions have to be made in terms of who's going to help us win games in more than one phase.
So, the Deuce Vaughn thing has bothered me for years. Everything Brian said is why I was dumbfounded when the Cowboys drafted Deuce Vaughn. Dumbfounded. Unless Deuce Vaughn is your 1st or 2nd running back, if he's playing your 3rd and if you have 4, he has to play other roles on the team. One of those is special teams. Who is Deuce Vaughn going to block? Who is he going to hit on a regular basis? Didn't blow your mind returning kicks. Deuce Vaughn, the reality is that you really got to have a plan for him. That you really got to say, hey, this guy, the advantage of him is he's a shorter player. So we're going to use him in the screen game. We're going to use him on some sweeps. We're going to use him on gadget plays, whatever the case may be, because we understand that that's what he is. When you got a player like him, yeah, you understand what he is. You know you're not going to use him anywhere else. That's why you get Deuce Vaughn. You don't get Deuce Vaughn and then expect him to do things that you just already explained. That if the reality is, just looking at him, you know he's not going to do those things. Cowboys brought Deuce Vaughn in because Deuce Vaughn was a great story. His father works for the Dallas Cowboys staff. We all knew this day was coming. Deuce Vaughn, and the crazy thing is, Deuce Vaughn actually had a pretty good preseason, I believe. I thought Deuce Vaughn had a pretty good preseason. But it just goes to show you, No matter, I think short of him running 6 touchdowns in the preseason, this was going to happen. This was going to happen. Another one of these issues. Jerry Jones written all over it. I love Jerry Jones, but this was one of those feel-good picks. And now it's come to fruition, actually probably a year late. But I hope Deuce Vaughn goes on to do great things. I hope somebody like an Andy Reid, because I think it's going to require a very good play caller to get Deuce Vaughn, bring him in, and really, really utilize him. I would love to see him go to a Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. I'd like to see him go to somebody who can literally look at him and say, I got some plays for you. I got some plays and some plans for you, and really bring him in and utilize his strengths. Because, I mean, we saw in the preseason, I mean, hey, he can run the ball. Just understand, that's what he is. He can run the ball. I believe he can catch the ball. So you got to have a plan to say, okay, this is going to be a specialty player for us. The Cowboys never felt like that about Deuce Vaughn.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. You mentioned the special teams aspect for that 5th or 6th receiver. What made Ryan Flanoy the guy that made you guys confident? Was it the special teams ability, and then what do you feel like he can do for you on offense?
Yeah, it was a tough one. Tough conversation with Jalen Brooks, and it was one of those things, Tommy, where we were going back and forth a lot, quite honestly. And like I've told you guys in the past, we have point of attack tapes, we have target tapes, and literally the offensive side of it was like literally neck and neck.
I would say it's like having another producer in the room that knows exactly.
3 weeks, I would say there's been no one that has played special teams more dominant than Ryan Flournoy. And as a gunner, he's been unstoppable, whether they single him up, they vice him because of his power and stuff like that. And he's done some really good jobs playing receiver with contested catches and versus press release and things like that. But it's a perfect point to what Nick asked in terms of that was one that came down to, okay, hey, which way do we want to go? And there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of good conversation about it. And at the end of the day, when you turned on the special teams film, there was a guy that was doing it at a very dominant level. And so that's what tipped the scales in his direction.
Now, they're talking about Ryan Flanoy. It was a no-brainer to me that Ryan Flanoy was going to make the Cowboys wide receiver roster. Now, I thought the Cowboys were going to keep 6 wide receivers, but I told y'all this before because Cavonte Turpin is on special teams. They don't have to list Cavonte Turpin as a wide receiver, even though they're going to use him as a wide receiver. So Cavonte Turpin is in actuality, if I'm not mistaken, he's the 6th wide receiver. He took that 6th wide receiver spot. Now, Chanel is making a comment here, and I think it's a very good comment. He's talking about the wide receiver preseason stats. Ryan Flanoy, 7 for 92, longest 23. Jalen Brooks, 5 for 72, longest 29. Jalen Brooks had a very good preseason training camp. Trayshawn Holden, 4 for 64, longest 35 yards. Trayshawn Holden had a great training camp. Now, this is where the sticking point comes in. Jalen Tolbert. I understand what Chanel is saying. Lisa Worley, I'm not saying that the Cowboys should have cut Jalen Tolbert. That's not what I'm saying. But I understand what Chanel is saying. There are certain players that you can tell the Cowboys are basically saying that they didn't necessarily have to compete. And I believe that Jalen Tolbert, no knock on Jalen Tolbert, but I believe the Cowboys really like Jalen Tolbert. And no matter what, I believe that Jalen Tolbert was going to be the number 3. Brian Schottenheimer always talked glowingly about him, always talked about the improvements. Understand this, he is Dak Prescott's running and throwing buddy. They feel like Jalen Tolbert has still more ceiling to go. the Cowboys are sold on Jalen Tolbert. They're sold on Jalen Tolbert. And so the reality is, Brian Broaddus said this about Jalen Tolbert, and I thought it was fascinating what Brian Broaddus said. Brian Broaddus said that Jalen Tolbert was actually out there playing like he shouldn't have been playing. Do y'all understand what he was saying? That Jalen Tolbert was out there, like Jalen Tolbert was basically out there like, man, I'm a made man. I should be in the category of CD, George Pickens. I should be in that category wide receiver, and I shouldn't be out here. And the guys who should be out here are Flournoy, Brooks, Cropper, Holden, Kelly. Those are the guys should be out here with Joe Milton, because I shouldn't be out here being risk getting hurt. And you'll notice Jalen Tolbert didn't, even though he was out there, Jalen Tolbert didn't really do a lot. He really didn't. He really didn't do a lot. And so I understand where Chanel is coming from, because, man, Trayshawn Holden played really well. Ryan Flournoy, let me tell y'all something. Ryan Flournoy played really, really well. And it wasn't the doggone special team stuff for me. No, Ryan Flournoy played wide receiver, Jack. I'm talking about routes, catches, blocking. Ryan Flournoy played wide receiver, and he played it well. And if it came down to Flournoy and Holden, of course it was going to be Flournoy to me, because Flournoy, he's got a year on him, and I just thought he looked better in the preseason. I mean, Flournoy just looked better. Flournoy looked better than Brooks. He looked better than Holden. I mean, Flournoy arguably could probably challenge Tolbert and Mingo. Flournoy in one more year is going to be a monster. You watch what I tell you. Flournoy is going to be a monster in one more year. And if he gets some opportunities this year, you're going to see Flournoy shine. So again, this is another one of them issues. Tolbert was never in a conversation. It is what it is. Tolbert was never in a conversation. He was never in a conversation, Chanel. It was never a conversation about Jalen Tolbert. Never. Never. I don't even think it was with Mingo. Never. Cowboys feel like the man has played his dues. Jamal Ism said, gee, this is how I feel about Maffa. 59 yards, 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders, 7 yards. What did Lipke do? What has Javonte done? I don't get it. Jamal Ism, appreciate that super chat. Might as well drop some truth bombs while we're at it. Hunter Lipke. Cowboys don't know what to do with him. Hunter Lipke. I see a day where he's not going to be with the Cowboys. They don't know what the heck to do with Hunter Lipke. They don't. They don't know what to do with him. He's not quite big enough to be a tight end. He's not quite small enough to be a running back. They know that he's got some skill, but we already saw him down there in the goal line. I think it was last year. We know he got skill, but we just don't know how to use it. Same thing happened with Deuce Vaughn. Hunter Lipke is that jacket that you have in the closet, and you really like this jacket. You know, you're like, man, this is a dope jacket. You know what I'm saying? But it's a plaid leopard skin jacket, but it's a dope jacket. But I just can't figure out the pants, the shoes, the shirt, the socks, and nothing to wear with it. But this jacket alone, when you look at this jacket, you go, this jacket dope. But every time I put it on with something, I go, but it don't look right with this. Hunter Lipke is this player that is so talented in the Cowboys' eyes. They're afraid to release him because they're afraid that somebody else is going to get him, like a Kyle Shanahan, for example. He's going to get him. Andy Reid or somebody like that will get him, and it'll turn him into a superstar. Sometimes you have to admit when a player don't fit. And somebody's got to tell me, I'm with you, Jamal Ism. I will agree with anybody who tell me that Hunter Lipke is talented. Problem is, tell me what Hunter Lipke has done. See, these are those decisions right here. These are those decisions right here. And I don't know if we don't, I'm not going to call them, they're not football decisions. But there are decisions that have kind of got you scratching your head because you're like, I'm not saying we should let him go, but what did he do for us to keep him? Other than him being talented. But we really hadn't done anything. So, okay, we're going to keep him because we haven't figured out what to do with him. I'm just telling you, I got a funny feeling Hunter Lipke, we're going to be having the same conversation about Hunter Lipke next year. The Cowboys are not going to pick up the fifth-year option probably. I think he'll be on the, is this his third or his fourth year? I got a strange feeling we'll be having the same conversation about him next year.
Go.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Some guys like James Houston, Zion Shoulders, and Johnny Cornelius, maybe some guys that kind of progressed and maybe earned this, at least externally. That's kind of what, we kind of look at it as. When you're looking at those guys and you're kind of making your roster, when you kind of realize, hey, man, this guy might have kind of earned this spot and really opened our eyes throughout this camp?
Well, again, James is a guy I think I've been, I get up here all the time and just talk about. I mean, the ability to rush the passer is such an important, part of our game. And James has been pretty much unblockable in most competitive padded situations we've been in, whether it's scrimmages, preseason games, our padded practices, whatever it is. And that jumps out at you. Zion's a good young player that, again, has flashed. He got a lot of work with the ones during different things when we were moving pieces around and trying different things. And so he never shied away, and the skills never. I
agree with you, Robert.
Took a step back when he was put into the starting rotation, and we've been moving guys around. And then AJ's a guy that we just, we like, and we see a huge upside for AJ, and that's why we drafted him. And so, but there's not a date that you're like, oh, hey, this, because again, everything you have to go back and you have to do your due diligence. You have to literally go back to when they were here in OTAs or in rookie minicamp, and then look at the player, the consistency, the performance, the ability to retain our information.
Brian, I love Brian Schottenheimer, but bro, you're being Captain Obvious. You don't have to explain to nobody why James Houston made this team. Bro, you don't have to explain to us how James Houston made this team. There's nothing to explain. We've seen it. We watched it in the preseason. The dude was flashing all over the screen. You don't have to explain James Houston. We'd actually prefer you to explain, as some of you have been mentioning, would prefer you to explain, as Robert M. said, we'd actually prefer you to explain why you kept Booth and let go of Izzy McQuamu. That's what we would like for you to explain. You don't have to explain James Houston, bro. You don't have to explain Perry Young Winfrey. We would have thought you were crazy to not sign them, to not keep them on the 53, bro. You Captain Obvious up in this thing. Hey, I'm riding with Brian, but this is Captain Obvious stuff that he's explaining. Bro, we don't need you to explain James Houston, man. We don't. I'm just saying.
And all those things go into it, which is why this is such a difficult and daunting task at times, because there's a lot of deliberation and there's a lot of differing opinions. And at the end of the day, there's probably 6 to 8 different conversations and meetings over the past, I'd say 3 or 4 days, that help us come to these decisions that we made.
With the release of GPT-5,
Takes a situation, but Zion's a guy that could end up being your nickel corner week 1 against Philly, defending champs 0-9. How much trust do you have in him to kind of handle such a big moment potentially if he's called upon?
Yeah, well, obviously the fact he's on our team means we trust him. I think he's earned that. I'm not going to give away any secrets of how we're going to play Philadelphia on opening night. But if you made our football team from a very, very competitive roster where we had to trim down from 91 guys, it shows you that we have trust in you.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, running back was a position you entered the offseason with some questions, end up with 5.
Lisa Worley says, smash that like button. I have to agree with my sister, Lisa Worley. Smash that like button.
On the roster at the moment, kind of how did you settle on that mix of 5 guys, and what's kind of your evaluation of the position now after cut down?
Well, I think, I've got my sheet up here. Javante's been a guy from day one that I've been just really impressed with, and the professionalism, the run talent jumps out. Miles is a veteran player that, we've seen do it, against us at Philly and went to Houston, and he's battled back from some stuff. But, just his ability to stretch the field and the perimeter and do some things coming out of the backfield is unique. Hunter Lepke's Hunter Lepke.
I see you, Texas boy.
Leave it at that. And then, Jaden's the guy that we've seen the twitch and the speed and the acceleration, and Phil Moff is a guy that, again, when you look at Phil play, he's a big, powerful man that's hard to bring down, and people
Johnny
bounce
Woods,
off
I think
of
some
him.
people agree with you.
I think
there's some people that agree.
it's a cool room because you've got the veterans in Miles and Javante. You got Hunter, who is becoming a veteran, and then you got the 2 rooks that, again, we drafted, and I think we've seen the things that we wanted to see from them.
Brian, Saad Yusuf, The Athletic.
Okay, talking about the running back room. The Cowboys have an opportunity to upgrade their running back room, if you ask me. There is a player the Cowboys were actually looking at in this draft. A lot of people said the Cowboys were really eyeing Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez is out there, Cowboys. Cut Miles Sanders and get Damian Martinez. We know what Miles Sanders is, Cowboys fans. No hate on Miles Sanders. Damian Martinez is out there for the taking. Go get him. Go get him. Absolute beast. Go get Damian Martinez. You wanted him? He's out there. The Cowboys could literally have Phil Maffa, Damian Martinez, and Jaden Blue as your future running back room. Go get Damian Martinez. Javonte Williams, I'm fine. Keep Javonte Williams. I see a little bit of burst there. Keep Javonte Williams. But Damian Martinez, hey man, I'm going to get Damian Martinez. I'm letting Miles Sanders go. This is why, for me, this 53-man roster need to have a question mark by it. There are players out there. I would go and upgrade I'm upgrading the running back room. Damian Martinez, to me, is a no-brainer. From the Cowboys, I'm running to get Damian Martinez.
With Savon Ravel, obviously there was some optimism during the draft that he might be ready during training camp. Just where is his progress at, and what are your expectations for him moving forward?
Yeah, again, no timetables. You know that. He's doing everything in his power. He's working incredibly hard. I think when you watch him work and you see him start to move, you see the things that we loved about him in the draft. But the biggest thing you want to do with a young player like that is you don't want to rush him back. You want to make sure when he goes out there, he feels great. And again, we're not going to do that. We're not going to rush him back. We're going to take our time, and when we feel like he's ready, then we'll do that. But at the same time, you talk about a guy like Trayvon who has done everything, and that gets you excited. You can't get them all back at one time, but again, couldn't be more excited to see Trayvon out there the other day.
If you don't understand the rules of power, you are certainly.
Now, I want us to understand. I want us to understand the mythology behind the Trayvon Diggs issue. Trayvon Diggs went down to Florida, got this special treatment, personal treatment as he called it, and he's back early. Well, has anybody not noticed? Britt Brown, I think his name is. Well, do they have any issues of getting people back early? We're literally watching Tyler Guyton He's going to be 2 weeks early, it looks like, because it sounds like Tyler Guyton is playing. Demarion Overshown, he's back early or going to be back early. Trayvon Diggs sounds like he's been working with the Cowboys training staff, and I like the fact that Trayvon Diggs came back, fixed it, and said he had no problem with the Cowboys training staff. Love all that stuff that he said. But it doesn't mean that Trayvon Diggs, when he came back early, had he worked with the Cowboys training staff. Now, I'm just saying all that to say this. Coming back early doesn't mean you're going to stay. And what I want for Trayvon Diggs is for him to stay. I'm not interested in him coming back early. I'm interested in him playing as long as I would like for him to play the whole season. But if it meant that Trayvon Diggs needs to miss a couple of games, I'd rather him miss 2 or 3 games and play the other 14 than to come back early and then something goes haywire down the midway down the middle of the season or the end of the season. The biggest thing for Trayvon Diggs to me is just making sure you're 100%. Don't come back early at 99. Come back at 100. Savon Rebel Jr., I think the Cowboys tried to maybe work him back a little too quick. Probably got a little too hard on him trying to rush him. And I think on some of the stuff that he did, I think it kind of tweaked something. So who knows when Savon Rebel Jr. will be ready. I'm thinking Savon Rebel Jr. is probably more mid-September, maybe more mid-September, maybe 1st of October. But looking forward to Savon Rebel Jr. I want to see what he can do.
AP, I've got a bigger picture Micah question, but first, you said the other day the MRI was clear on him. Do you all consider him medically clear to practice? Or no?
Yeah, again, there's always a chance for more tests and things like that, but at this time we do, yes.
And you've been handed a pretty delicate contract situation in your first year as a head coach. How do you draw on all the years you've been in the league to try to handle that and deal with that?
Just try not to get distracted by it. I think I get asked by it every time I come in here, which again, I understand and appreciate, but I can promise you when I leave here, I don't get caught up in it. I really don't. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter and things like that reading what people think and wonder why. I'm running a football team, and I'm worried about the other guys, and the business side of it always works out.
Yeah.
One way or the other. The business side always works out. And so that's something that I'm not really in control of. And because of that, it's easy to say, okay, hey, let me focus on the stuff I am in control of.
Yeah.
And that's getting these guys ready to play and be in great shape and have the scheme ready to go and the coaches ready to go on September 4th against Philadelphia.
Excited. Like it.
Yesterday,
I like what Chanel said. Chanel said Shotty just effed up bringing up Bill Parcells' name into a comment. Who has forgotten more than Shotty will ever know about football? And Shotty, the league has not changed. You still need offense and defense. Yep, and you still win games in the trenches. And it is still a meritocracy every single time, or at least it should be when you're talking about football. And it's crazy to me that the answer that he gave didn't really, hallelujah, what up, salute. The answer that he gave to me is crazy, because he's like, hey, man, we ain't really I'm not really making no decisions. We making decisions. Now, bro, we want to know if you're making decisions. That's what we're asking. Because if you're not making decisions, what Machota is kind of alluding to is that means that you're kind of like a yes man. I mean, that's really what we're all wondering. And I'm just kind of like, wow, you got Will McClay. I mean, hey, it is what it is, but maybe it's not unusual. But, you got Will McClay in there? Wow. Wow. Okay.
Diggs and Guyton got some work in. How did they fare in that from a physical standpoint?
Yeah, they both did good. Again, we're bringing them back slowly, but it was great to see them both out there. And
D said because they don't want to win.
Guyton way ahead of schedule, it looks like, from what I saw. But again, does that mean he'll be ready to go on September 4th? I'm not going to put a timetable on it, but I was really encouraged. And then Trayvon, I think, to me, since we first started talking about this in training camp, the strides he's made.
Kristen Charleston said these cuts are crazy.
Trey and his work with Britt and his want to. And I saw a comment from him, he's hungry, and you can see that. And to me as a coach, man, that's all about competition. Like, it's really cool to see him where he's chomping at the bit to get back out there and play. And that shows you he loves the game.
I'll be honest with you on the competition thing. I really wish Brian would stop talking about competition. Some of this stuff actually isn't competition. It just isn't. I mean, you can call it what you want to, but it's not competition. It's just not. I mean, Brian will talk about competition in one sentence, and then in another sentence, he's justifying a move that actually wasn't a competitive move. Again, I still think people keep construing what I'm saying about Joe Milton. Joe Milton was not a competition for the second quarterback position. And that's why, for me, I'm looking at you side-eyed every single day of the week if you didn't let Joe Milton compete. And even when we talk about what Chanel brought up about Jalen Tolbert, the reality is, and I'm not tripping on it, because if Jalen Tolbert is a made man, and Jalen Tolbert put up some pretty good numbers last year, and you put those numbers against other third wide receivers, Jalen Tolbert put up some really good numbers. But we got to stop calling it a competition if we know full well there are made men. We don't have to worry about anybody competing with CeeDee Lamb because CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver on the team. There was nobody that was going to outcompete CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens is the second best wide receiver. I mean, I'm just saying, when you're talking about competition, and we can clearly see in some of these cuts, and we're going to go over them in a minute, that maybe some of this stuff wasn't as much competition as you make it. You're screaming competition, but then you're giving every excuse for when there's not competition. Joe Milton, Trayshawn Holden, Mukwamu. I mean, people are scratching their heads. And some people, I can see how y'all are talking in the chat. Some of y'all are scratching your heads on Mozzie Smith. Y'all are scratching your heads. You get the right to scratch your heads on those things. But I'm telling you, man, when you're talking about competition, I don't really see this in the grand scheme of things when you have a roster that is filled with some are guys who it don't matter who you would have brought, they were going to beat them anyway. Some you have just classified as made men. And the reality is the Cowboys put together a pretty good roster. And I think a lot of the guys who they felt like were like the guys who they wanted on the roster, it is what it is. They wanted to keep them. I'm not mad at you. But I just say, let's stop emphasizing all of the competition because it don't really sound like competition to me. It don't really sound like competition. I'm not mad. I mean, this team already has some very, very good players. I mean, there was nobody's gonna. Who are you gonna bring in to compete with Oso Digizua? I mean, really, Deron Bland. As much as some people kind of say whatever they want to say about Deron Bland, but we already had some made men. So at the end of the day, bro, all the competition talk, I'm just kind of like, team was already good, so I'm good. I'm good with it. I just want him to really focus and hone in on the mentality of this team and the culture. And we're going to see that culture tested over the first 4 to 6 games. And we'll see how Brian is talking after the first 4 to 6 games. So I'm excited for Brian. I think he needs a whole year as a Cowboys coach. I think Brian needs to understand this is not like being a coach anywhere else. You're under the microscope. And a lot of things you say we're listening to, man, and we're hanging on this stuff, and we're already looking at stuff like, hold on, some of this stuff ain't matching. So.
And he's dealt with a lot over the last couple of years, but I like the look in his eye. I really do.
He's a very quiet guy, and you've always talked about you're a relationship guy. Was it hard to kind of get with him, talk to him, get to know him a little bit?
No, I don't think so. I think, I'm pretty good at breaking down walls, and, I'm pretty good at.
See, this is the thing you got to catch about Brian Schottenheimer. This is the thing you have to catch about Brian Schottenheimer. He's pretty confident in himself. The one thing that he brags on doing, if you have not paid attention, and I'm still riding with Brian, but Brian really brags on himself when it comes to talking. Have y'all not noticed this? Brian really brags on himself when it comes to talking. Yeah, I'm a great communicator. Yeah, talking. Yeah, I'm a great communicator. I'm great at convincing people. I'm great at saying things that make people feel a certain type of way. I hope it works. I hope it works, and I do think some of it is going to work because we have a very talented team, but you got to check out what Brian is always saying. You got to think about what he just talked about. He just talked about a coach in Bill Parcells, that there was no reason for him to bring up Bill Parcells. I don't even understand bringing Bill Parcells into the conversation. Why bring up Bill Parcells? A Super Bowl winning coach who didn't just talk about it, but it was about it. And again, I know it's a different league. I think Bill would have had some problems with some of the stuff he did back in the day. But nevertheless, bro, you can't even compare yourself to Bill Parcells. You shouldn't even never brought Bill Parcells up. Bro, he's a different type of coach. The NFL probably needs coaches again like Bill Parcells, minus some of the derogatory things he used to say to players. But Bill was a heck of a coach, man. But Brian prides himself, if you have not noticed, Brian prides himself on talking. He prides himself on it.
Probing questions and asking things to get to the heart of the matter, if you will.
Are you looking to protect your family from power outages, but don't want to spend?
Yeah, we're gonna get YouTube Premium soon. Y'all hang tight.
I really enjoy being around Trey, and he and I have had a lot of good conversations. And if my couch could talk in a good way, some of the things I've been able to get to know about these guys.
Ron Hanna said, "Man, he realize we watch the games
with him.
Anyone can see Mozzie looks
memories
lost."
that I cherish, and I feel like it allows me to do my job at the highest level because I can kind of read them. And I think that's important when you sit in this role and you have to motivate guys to do things and work together as a team.
Where do you think your needs are still, and you anticipate being active tomorrow on the waiver wire or looking to upgrade?
Always be active. Again, like I said, McClay looks exhausted right now, but I don't feel bad for him at all. I said, hey, I don't want to hear it. Get back in there and turn on some more film. He and his staff are working incredibly hard. Why? This is like a second draft, right? You're going to have all these players that get released into, the free agency market and the waiver wire and the way it's set up, the claiming numbers and things like that, where you can grab guys. And I think the way I look at it is if we can, continue to be competitive and add pieces.
Keep
that
shopping.
means we're doing our job, looking under every nook and cranny for good players that have the type of characteristics and traits that we want, but they're also the competitors that we want that believe in culture and things like that. That's important to us. And again, I think we will definitely be active. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know how many new faces will be here compared to how many guys we bring back, but we're open for business, if you will say.
Keep shopping.
Keep shopping. On Perry on Winfrey, he said in the locker room after the game on Friday, the Cowboys believed in me when nobody else did. I'm willing to put my life on the line, my body, whatever it is, to see this organization win. I'm one of those players that will fight for them regardless of anything. So to hear that quote in context with your conversation that you had with him today, how are you?
Christian Charleston, you hang on. Just hang on. This team is going to be very, very good. Just hang on. We're not going to know what this team is until playoff time comes, as far as will they be better than they've been before? But we got to understand, and Brian Schottenheimer has to understand, there is nothing he can prove to us in the regular season. Brian Schottenheimer is really up against it from that perspective. There is nothing that Brian Schottenheimer can prove to any Cowboys fan in the regular season unless you win 14 games, because we've already seen Dak Prescott win 13 games. We already know, we've seen him with Zeke and Dez Bryant and Jason Witten and the line, some of the line pieces. We've seen Dak Prescott. We've seen Dak Prescott. 12 wins, 12 wins, 12 wins. Runner-up MVP, second team All-Pro. We've seen almost 5,000 yards in 3 seasons, being top 5 in every single category as a quarterback. We've seen it. Brian has to understand, and I hope he does, there is nothing he can prove to us in the regular season. Not one thing. So, Charleston, just hang tight before we say it's the same old season. Let's see what we do in the playoffs. That's what we got to see if this team has made any changes. Playoffs. Can we get one playoff victory? Can we get one this year? Can we get one and be in the second one? Can we win 2? Can we get to the NFC Championship game? Because I'm telling you now, I want Brian to really get this year, and that's why I'm going to enjoy this year. I want to see the growth of Brian Schottenheimer into a one-year head coach of being with the Cowboys, dealing with the media, dealing with Jerry, dealing with all of the stuff that comes along with the Cowboys. I want to see how this all holds up. I want to see how this all holds up. Because, again, man, we got to understand something. Man, this dude is up against the wall. Y'all tell me, what could Brian Schottenheimer do to impress us in the regular season? I mean, we're literally expecting 12 wins. I mean, you got George Pickens. A lot of people are expecting. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. Some people are. Some guy was telling me today on X, Cowboys are going 3-14 or 4-13. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, I think the Cowboys are going to be a very good team this year. Our biggest answer, the thing that we got to answer is, what can we do in the playoffs? Eyes on the hoodie. I think our running backs are really good. I'm telling you, I would already start Phil Moffitt and Jaden Blue. I'd go ahead and start that regime now. Javonte Williams, I think they're very impressed with him because a lot of people say he was really good before the injury. Miles Sanders, kind of know what he is. I would rather the Cowboys bring in Damian Martinez, though. I would actually let go of Miles Sanders and bring in Damian Martinez. I would be willing to go with Javonte Williams, Phil Moffitt, Jaden Blue, and Damian Martinez. That, to me, would be a powerful running back room. Powerful running back room.
Excited are you for the young man, and why do you think this situation worked for him?
Well, I'm emotional for him, number one. I mean, what I saw in that room in my office was real tears of joy. But like I said, pain and passion, and he means it. I mean, this is a guy, when we're playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game that we've already had won, and we're on the 1 yard line, and the defense is trying to get a goal line stop, and he is absolutely
I believe you.
Going crazy trying to motivate.
I think Toba's going to have a really good season.
If you can't cheer for that, then I don't know what you can cheer for. So thrilled for him, but thrilled also for this football team, because
man, we still shopping.
I want guys around that realize that take advantage of every opportunity to play this game, man. It is the best game in the world, bar none, in my opinion. And he's a special young man that deserves this opportunity, and he's earned it. And because he's earned it, I tip my cap to him.
Yeah.
Will has talked previously about your guys' communication, through the draft process and how good that was. In terms of now going into the second draft, how much do you guys rely on that communication, especially when things are moving?
Boy, you got to be rolling
fast
up
in the next
here.
24 hours, and how much anticipatory scouting did you guys do about who could be potentially waived from other teams?
Yeah, great question. They've been tracking guys really all preseason. With the coaches now are just
Brian
kind of
Draper,
getting
I'm coming
into
back
it.
to you.
We were focused on selecting our 53-man roster and what that looks like, and now we dive into the film and looking at other things. And okay, hey, these guys have been released, and they've got the head start. But in terms of the work, we'll sit down in groups and coaches and scouts alike, and we'll look at players that are out there, and then we've got decisions to make. Okay, we'll, compare Todd Archer to Calvin Watkins, compare those guys, and who do you want? And okay, well, we definitely want Calvin over Todd. For different reasons. But it's nonstop, and it's already started for them. It's beginning for us as coaches, but, it's very... It's very seamless when you have the ability to have these conversations that go back to the draft, when it's it's okay to disagree, but just stay convicted to your point, and then let's ultimately turn the film on, because the film is what's going to speak volumes. It's not just, oh, well, hey, so-and-so said this about so-and-so. It's, okay, this guy's clearly a really good player, and I think he upgrades us in this spot, and here's why, as opposed to just, well, hey, I talked to my buddy in Carolina, and he really loves the guy. Let's turn the film on and let the film speak to these guys, and that's honestly one of the things about Nick's question about Perrion. You turn the film on, and that guy is a disruptive, badass football player.
Garrett.
Going off kind of what you were saying there about your communication with Will, has there been a player in your NFL coaching career at some point where in the second draft this time you really banging the table saying this guy's got to be on here, and you were very excited when that worked out?
Great question.
No.
There definitely has been. I'm trying to think. And they all didn't work out, because of the way the waiver wire works with the claims and things like that.
Okay, he actually couldn't think of nobody on that when I saw this right here, so we're going to end it right there. All right. So I'm going to tell y'all where I am right now. I am still excited for this season. I'm excited for this season because this Cowboys team is good. The expectations for Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, the expectations are going to be very high by Jerry Jones. I think they're going to be very, very high by Jerry Jones simply because I believe that Jerry Jones thinks he has a Super Bowl squad. I think he thinks he has a Super Bowl squad with George Pickens added to this team. He believes he has a Super Bowl squad. And so, man, when you're talking about Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, I'm just telling you this team is going to be very, very good. I think we're going to be able to run the ball. I don't think we're going to have a problem running the ball. I think Javonte Williams he's going to play really well for us. I think Jaden Blue is going to play well for us. Miles Sanders may actually go off against the Philadelphia Eagles for whatever reason, because it seems like to me he is gunning for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think the Cowboys may very well let him oblige and do it. But my concern is the defense. But I'm not overly concerned about the defense either, because I think the Cowboys are going to make a couple of improvements. Let's go over here real quick to the final 53-man roster, and I put a question mark beside that. Let's go over to the 53-man roster real quick. And I'm still, like I said, it's a question mark beside the Cowboys 53-man roster. So not overly concerned where we are right now. Question is, what are we going to do going forward? And let's look at some of these players. And we'll kind of move this into the significant cuts also. We'll talk about that. So the Cowboys 53-man depth chart, here it is. For all who don't know, Cowboys got Overshown, of course, on injured reserve. We got Jonathan Mingo, Peyton Turner. Peyton Turner, man, I'm telling you, the Cowboys didn't want to get rid of any of these guys they brought in. That was these former number one picks. You can tell Savon Revel Jr., of course, is on there, and then Josh Butler. Let me read a couple of comments too that I kind of highlighted. I want to go back and read to some of y'all posts. I thought they were really good. Ron Hanna said, man, that team Atlanta put out there was terrible. How can the Cowboys give him QB2? He didn't earn that spot. Same thing with me, Ron Hanna. Same thing with me. That Atlanta team was terrible. That 70s fan show, maybe Trayshawn Holden can clear waivers. I'm going to be shocked if he does. Yeah, 70s fan said the Seahawks cut Damian Martinez. Boy, I wish Cowboys would bring him in. I think he'd be fantastic for this team. Chanel said Mozzie along with Taco Charlton and Tristan Hill are some of the worst picks ever by a football team. Somebody needs to take the hit for continually drafting players like this that are total defensive bust. Justin Bradley said, hey, G, what's your thoughts on maybe snagging Big More Desmond Watson since Tampa Bay cut him? May be an option. Yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to have a couple of different options out there. I think they got a couple of different options out there at that one tech position. People have been talking about the kid from Baltimore. We're going to look at him too. The Cowboys got some options out there. Robert M. said, I'm going to wait 24 hours before I see how I really feel about these cuts and re-signings. You know, and the funny thing is, we're still talking about the players that are not really starters in the grand scheme of things. So the Cowboys starting lineup is great. This is why I'm still confident this team is going to be good. Bama Boy said D-Law had an interview, talked about being tagged. Jerry said, show me. He did. Then he got the bag. He said Jerry kept his word. Thoughts. Same with Parsons. I got a strange feeling Parsons is not going to play on that tag. I mean, he's not going to play on that fifth-year option. Parsons is going to get that extension. Texas Boy said, we don't need to see a doggone thing. Oh, boo. He said he's trash. Bama Boy said, gee, Jerry's afraid of paying a player because they always get injured after the bag or not the same player. He's being cautious, but Parsons is a generational player. Get it done, Jerry or Parsons, or fire Mulugeta. Yeah. I think he's going to get signed. He'll probably get signed the day of the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he signed by Monday. Ball Out City said, why you buy that plaid leopard? Ball Out City said, why you buy that plaid leopard print jacket in the first place, Chief? Mile High City, you know how we do. Boy, we'll see something, boy, we just got to have it. And then when we get it, we be like, doggone it. This thing don't look nothing. It don't match anything, even though I love it. Brian Draper, he said, I'm ready to watch our team. He said, we really didn't get to see the starters play at all, so it's hard to know how well we play together, whatever. Go Cowboys. You know, Brian, and this is why I'm so confident in this team. I'm so excited about this team. Because the grand scheme of things, we're still talking about the backups. That's really all we're talking about are the backups. April Shower said, plaid leopard black goes with everything. Bama Boy said, I just love to hear Shotty speak. He said, I just pray it translates on the field. He's been waiting for this. It's his time. That's where I am. That's where I am too. That's exactly where I am. Ace Wade said he's sick of the fake Michael Parsons. He's sick of the fake Michael Parsons Packers rumors. Appreciate that super chat. Yeah, they haven't near about come close enough to anything that would make Jerry Jones even blink about trading Michael Parsons. Because I'm telling you, I believe that Jerry wants to engraft Michael Parsons into the family. Jerry absolutely loves Michael Parsons, and I'm going to stick to that. I don't care what anyone says. Jerry loves Michael Parsons, and he loves what he brings to the team, not only on the field, but he loves what he brings to the team off the field with his podcast and how controversial he is. Because Jerry even said that Jimmy Johnson was controversial, and he liked that. Jerry loves controversial figures and players, especially when they're talented. Michael Parsons, unless something goes haywire, I'm expecting Michael Parsons to sign any day now. Okay, so the quarterback, of course, we know is Dak Prescott and Joe Milton. This is all good as long as Dak Prescott stays healthy. The Cowboys offensive tackles, Tyler Guyton, Terrence Steele, Nate Thomas, Johnny Cornelius. No surprise really there. Nate Thomas kind of beat out Austin Richards. Offensive line, interior, we got Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman. I'm telling you, the Cowboys offensive line, we just got to see what Tyler Guyton and Terrence Steele are going to look like. But that triangle of Guyton, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker and Tyler Smith, man, that thing is rock solid to me. Fullback, Hunter Lipke. I don't even understand what we're going to do with Hunter Lipke, but again, we'll see. Running backs, Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders, Phil Maffa. My question mark is really Miles Sanders. My question mark is Miles Sanders. And I really would not mind the Cowboys bringing in Damian Martinez for him. Tight end, Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, and Brevin Spanford. Now, I think the tight end situation is probably one of these positions that I have to really question the Cowboys on whether or not this was really about a player earning a position. I really got to question this on Luke Schoonmaker. I really do. Because when I look at these tight ends for the Dallas Cowboys, when we look at these tight ends for the Dallas Cowboys, man, I got to question it because even when it comes to Brevin Spanford, man, I thought Rivaldo Fairweather looked good. I really did. I thought Rivaldo Fairweather really turned it on at the end. I thought Princeton Fant looked really good. Brevin Spanford, I think he's a bigger tight end. That's probably what they like about him. But Schoonmaker at the number 2 tight end, second-round draft pick. That's all I'm saying. Second-round draft pick. I'm just wondering if this is one of those picks where somebody says we're not getting rid of him. Wide receiver, of course, these were no-brainers in the first. I really think the top 3 spots were no-brainers. CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, and Tolbert. Okay, now this is what surprises me. I just don't think they had to list Turpin as a wide receiver. But they have Turpin in there. But again, Turpin is in there. But keep in mind that we also have Jonathan Mingo. We also have Jonathan Mingo. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, when Jonathan Mingo comes back. Who's going to get cut? Defensive end, no-brainer. Michael Parsons, Dante Fowler, Marshawn Nealon, Donovan Ezeraku, James Houston, Sam Williams. No-brainers. Defensive tackle, Oso Digizua, Solomon Thomas, Mozzie, Jay Toya, Perion Winfrey. Kind of no-brainer. I've been seeing where people are saying that Solomon Thomas is going to play the one tech at 256 pounds. I think the Cowboys are going to maybe get a one tech. But again, if this is the 53-man roster with question marks, then the Cowboys are going to have to lose some people if they want to fit on, for example, another one tech. I'm thinking that Perion Winfrey is on the team to stay. So where do you make the move to get a one tech on the team? Somebody gonna have to be cut loose. Linebackers, you got Maurice, Jack Sanborn, Murray, Damone Clark, Shamar James. No-brainers again. Cornerbacks, Diggs, Bland, Elam, Booth, Childress, Kalen Carson. I mean, to me, Kalen Carson and Andrew Booth, the Cowboys can improve at cornerback. And again, what happens when Savon Revel Jr. comes off of, in IR or whatever? Safeties, Hooker, Wilson, Wanye Thomas, Marquise Bell. This was actually definitely a no-brainer. Specialists, Brandon Aubrey, Anger, and Sieg. No-brainers on those. So the question becomes, when you start looking at the Cowboys' 53-man roster with a question mark, well, who are you going to release if you want to bring some more players in? Who are you going to release? Who are you going to release? Are these surely Mingo is not going to the practice squad. Surely, now I can see Turner on the practice squad. Surely you're not putting Savon Revel Jr. on the practice squad. So, of course, I think one of the cornerbacks will be expendable. And it probably won't be, I guess it won't be Booth. Maybe it'll be Kalen Carson, but Savon Revel Jr. has got to get back on the roster. I got a feeling that we'll see what they do with Josh Butler. So again, the question becomes for the Cowboys, where do you start making these? If this is not the final 53-man roster, then where do you start making these cuts for these players that you want? Where do you start making these cuts? Because when you think about it, and let's pull up this list of cuts around the league. Let's go ahead and pull that up. And let's pull up the Cowboys and let's look at some of the significant cuts that I'm sure that some of us are not happy about. But when we look at the significant cuts for the Cowboys, I think Deuce Vaughn really rubbed some people the wrong way. Deuce Vaughn rubbed some people the wrong way. There may be some people wondering about Brooks. The tight ends, Princeton Fant and Rivaldo Fairweather, really kind of questioning. I don't think they allowed Schoonmaker. He's another one that they didn't really allow him to compete. Will Greer, we already know that story. Didn't allow him to compete. Trayshawn Holden got people all in their feelings. How did he not make the team? How did he not make the team? That is absolutely crazy for a lot of us. Israel Mukwamu, I still don't see how Booth made the team before Israel Mukwamu. Crazy to me. Tyler Neville, I think he's going to be a practice squad candidate. Cowboys may try to either bring back Fant or Rivaldo Fairweather back to the practice squad. You got cornerback Michael O.J. Mudia. I mean, they didn't even I don't even know if did they let O.J. Mudia get his socks on. They cut him. Troy Pride Jr. I could see Troy Pride Jr. going to the practice squad. Robert Rochelle going to the practice squad. Mike Smith Jr. Not really surprised for me. John Stevens Jr. Deuce Vaughn really got a lot of people in their feelings. A lot of people in their feelings. So those were huge. Those were the major ones, though. The significant cuts for the Cowboys. Again, probably Jalen Brooks. Oh, I forgot about Lyle Collins. I hope Jalen Cropper. I hope Jalen Cropper goes to another team and gets an opportunity. Jalen Cropper has these amazing preseasons for the Cowboys every single year. And then when the roster cuts come down, no Jalen Cropper. Don't understand it. I skipped this row, obviously. Malik Davis. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys maybe tried to bring Malik Davis to the practice squad. Again, Denzel Jackson was no surprise. But the big names, Deuce Vaughn, Israel Mukwamu, I think even Troy Pride might be for some people too. Malik Davis, some people might think that that's a big deal. The two tight ends, big deal. So the Cowboys made some cuts that's kind of got us questioning. But then when you look around at some of the other teams, I want to go to the a lot of people are talking about there was a defensive tackle, I think, that was cut, but I'm thinking the defensive tackle that I think was cut was from Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens. A lot of people are talking about him. I'm serious, though. The major cut for the thing that got me for the Seattle Seahawks, Damian Martinez? That is, I mean, wow. Damian Martinez? Crazy to me. Crazy to me. It looks like they've cut like 3 nose tackles, maybe even 3 nose tackles. Brandon Peely, Bubba Thomas, J.R. Singleton. Cowboys are going to have some options out there, I'm telling you. But I think the guy that everyone is talking about is the guy from the Baltimore Ravens. Let me bring this guy up. I want to see if anybody's familiar with him. Now, me, I'm sorry, I just don't watch other teams as much, so I'm not as familiar with some of these players. Okay, maybe I passed him, but the guy that people are talking about, if I'm not mistaken, is a player from the Baltimore Ravens. And people are saying that he either played for Eberflus or maybe there's another player that played for Eberflus. But nevertheless, the Cowboys got some options out there. They really do. They have some options. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. Here he is. Adole. This is the player that everyone's talking about. People are saying the Cowboys should go get this guy. I'm pretty sure I messed his name up, but this is the guy that people are saying the Cowboys should go get. Y'all tell me what you think about this particular defensive tackle. Y'all throw some names out there for anybody who's been cut. Tell me what you think. But this is one of the guys that people have been talking about. Adole. This is who they've been talking about. Saying maybe we should bring him in as a one tech. Y'all tell me what you think. Lisa said we kept Donovan Wilson. Yeah, he's very I think he's going to play well inside of Flus' system. We'll see. Robert M said 16 players allowed on practice squad, but through the International Pathway Program, he's Nigerian born. You're allowed an exception. Newhouse fam said, I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry accepts it. I mean, he kept Mozzie and Booth. No telling what's next. I'm telling you, though, this team is really good. The team is so good, I believe, at the first and in some spots on the second level. I think this is one of the reasons why the Cowboys can do some of the things that they're doing. I don't think the Cowboys are too much worried about it. Quasi Blake said Revel Jr. and Butler will replace Booth and Carson when they are healthy. Think y'all Booth is the 5th or 6th cornerback on this team. Why are we whining about him? Yeah. Problem is, I think the reason why people are afraid, Quasi, is that they feel like he might get some playing time. I think that's the problem. Because at the end of the day, we don't really know what we're going to look like as far as players. It's one thing for players to come back. The thing is, do they last? So that's kind of what we are. The real estate vet, Greer, why? I don't understand it. I don't even understand the whole thing they did with Will Greer and Joe Milton. It just didn't make sense to me. Just didn't make sense. Brian Draper said Mozzie and Schoonmaker are Jerry's kids. Yeah, Schoonmaker was one of these guys. I can tell you this, he definitely didn't have to compete. Didn't have to compete. Bamba Boy says, should have kept Rico, period, since Pollard wasn't retained. Make it make sense. Bama Boy, I'm with you. The Cowboys should have kept Rico Dowdle. I would have kept Rico Dowdle over Miles Sanders. I'd rather have Rico Dowdle and Javonte Williams. I don't understand. I don't understand the Rico Dowdle move. I didn't understand it. Move got into his natural right tackle spot. Chanel, I've been saying the same thing. But the thing is, they don't want to move Tyler Smith to the left tackle position. They don't want to move Ty Smith. So I guess they're going to go with Nate Thomas. Nate Thomas as the backup to Guyton. And I'm telling you, this is going to be very important. I really want to see how Guyton plays. Yeah, Terrence Washington, this is where I am too, man. Go get Damian Martinez. We know the Cowboys were looking at him. We know the Cowboys were looking at Damian Martinez. Go get this man. Go get Damian Martinez. Mike Sage only carried 3 backs and a fullback. Let me go back. I thought we carried 4. Thought the Cowboys actually carried 4. Yeah, I'm thinking. I thought they said it was 4. Let me see. Did I read that wrong? Yeah, we kept 4 running backs. Williams, Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders, and Phil Maffa. But I'm hoping that the Cowboys are still shopping. I hope the Cowboys go in there and still want to upgrade that running back room. Excuse me. Where I would upgrade that running back room is Damian Martinez. I'm just choosing Damian Martinez over Miles Sanders. I just know what Miles Sanders is. for the most part. Javonte Williams, okay, ride with it. But Miles Sanders, no. The real estate vet, he said, I'm still confused about Greer. What are we missing about that cut? I don't understand it. Again, I don't understand it. Chanel said if still going into the third year from injury is not good, then he has to be moved to play guard. I can tell you this, the Cowboys got options on that offensive line. They got some very good backups. Okay, Zach Pickens, guard. Zach Pickens, G. Okay, what team is he on, Daniel? Mike Sage, it's Okoye. Yeah, a lot of people. Let's go back over here. Cowboys got some options, man, I'm telling you. There seems to be some, if the Cowboys want, if they really want to get a one tech, they are out there. There are some one techs out there available for the Cowboys if they want them. They are out there. There is no doubt about it. Okay, that's another one they're talking about, Davion Wallace. They cut a draft pick of Flus, last name Pickens. Chicago cut him. Okay, let's see if we can check out who this guy is. Okay. Yeah, and I actually sent a tweet on X earlier when I saw him released, when I saw the background on him, because they were saying that Eberflus drafted him. So I was wondering, I was like, okay, I wonder if he's going to go to Jerry Jones and ask, can he get this guy? Let's see. I don't see him on here unless I'm missing it. There he is. This is the guy right here. A lot of people are wondering if the Cowboys are going to go get Zach Pickens. A lot of people are wondering if the Cowboys go pick him up. 2023 third round, 64th pick. Career 39 tackles, 17 solo, 22 assists, 1.5 sacks. Will the Cowboys go get him? That's who people are wondering about right there. Okay, Okoye is the one tech. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about he's out there for the pickings if the Cowboys want him. He's out. He's out there. Cowboys want him. He's out there. In particular, I think the guy we're talking about is Okoye. Man, if I'm not mistaken, boy, he's a pretty big dude too. Let's go over here and check him out. But he's a pretty big dude. But the Cowboys, man, if they really want to, if they want to improve at the one tech position, they can do it. They can definitely do it. It's just a matter if they're going to do it. That's the question. Are they going to do it? I also saw, while we're thinking about it, I also noticed that Trey Flowers is back out there. Yep. Trey Flowers cut by the Chicago Bears. I wonder if there'll be any talk about Trey Flowers. Because again, Matt Eberflus is the defensive coordinator. I wonder if he'll talk to Brian and Jerry about going out there and getting some of his ex-players. I'm just wondering. But I think the guy who everyone is really wanting the Cowboys to go out there and get is the kid from Buffalo. Is the young man from, okay, this is him. CJ Okoye. Yeah, this is him. This is the one that people are wanting the Cowboys to go out here and get. I think it's who y'all are talking about. CJ Okoye. Yeah, a lot of people were mentioning him, I think. They got an opportunity. They definitely have an opportunity. If the Cowboys want to improve at the one tech position, I believe they absolutely can. And I still think they need to consider maybe even trying to improve at the cornerback position. I really do. I'm sorry. I just don't get the thing with Andrew Booth. And somebody brought up earlier, let me look up Andrew Booth. Somebody said he was a number 1 draft pick. Now, I wasn't aware. I mean, Booth has just been so bad. Okay, 2022 draft. Okay, he's a second rounder is what he is. Yeah, Booth is a second rounder. Okay, yeah, Andrew Booth was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. He was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. That's what it is. Minnesota Vikings, round 2, pick 10. How's he pick 10 in round 2? Okay. Pick 10 in round number 2. Okay, got it. I got it what they're saying. Obviously, he was heavily touted coming out of college. And maybe the Cowboys are hoping they can pick up on that, whatever it was. His production score, 75, athleticism, 86, total score, 82. Let's see what his draft profile was. Because that's how you can kind of see, like, if players have improved, kind of looking at their draft. Kind of their profile. It says strengths, 5-star background with 5-star measurables. Feet are very agile and twitchy. Slides and slows release from press. Strength to maintain extended jab through release. Back pedal is smooth and fast. Consistently competitive and urgent in his coverage. Better playmaking talent than ball production would indicate. Awareness to read and overlap from zone. Burst and length helps him close out a catch point. Ball judgment and tracking is top notch. Maintains positioning and contorts to challenge throws. A downhill striker. Weaknesses. Split high with slight stall in his hips when matching lateral break points. Will need to dial back physical hands beyond the line of scrimmage. False steps and inefficiencies in coverage movements. Gets prematurely turned by a quality route runner. And we're definitely seeing, boy, if this one don't ring true, we've been seeing this one for the last year he moved to Cowboys. Unable to generate instant acceleration from transitions. Another reason why he probably gets burnt. Watch this. Can be too anticipatory and overreactive. Now, I think we've seen some of this, and I think this is one of the places where he got Cooper Rush. Kind of anticipated what Cooper Rush was going to do after watching him on that first possession. Also knowing if anybody, we know he played against him the previous year. Knew his arm was weak. Anticipated the throw and he got it. Needs better eye balance from zone and off-man coverage. Tackling lacks control at times. Okay. As sounds like Booth still. The Cowboys, if they want to, again, they can improve at the one-tech position. And there are a plethora of cornerbacks out there that I hope the Cowboys are looking at. Plethora of cornerbacks. But, again, I said this on Monday or maybe Saturday. The Cowboys want to make sure they get their 53-man roster. They have their 53-man roster, which still isn't settled. But they have the 53-man roster that they pretty much want to open up the season with, more than likely. And I would expect to see over the next couple of days, the Cowboys are going to be bringing in one-techs and cornerbacks. I would expect the Cowboys to be bringing that in because I think everywhere else, other than that, the Cowboys are good to go. I think they put together a very good roster. So the only 3 things I would like to see from the Cowboys: Damian Martinez. Bring in some one techs. Let's see what they're working. See if we can get one of them in. Bring in Damian Martinez, one tech. Maybe bring in another cornerback. And the cornerback I would love to see him bring in is Stephon Gilmore. That's just me. Go Dodgers. He said they usually carry 4 because half of them play on special teams. Yep. But if you can't do that, then there's no reason to keep them. Yeah, for sure. Lisa Worley said, that's funny. I really kind of want Tom Brady to play. Tom Brady to play for us this last couple of years. Chanel said, gee, if we don't have a good left tackle, then Dak will be in intensive care after the Philly or Giant game. Man, Chanel, let me tell you something that I've been hearing about the last week that is absolutely bananas to me. People are saying the New York Giants have one of the best defensive lines in football. They are saying the Giants have one of the best defensive lines in football. We're going to have our hands full with the Giants. Just from the perspective of they can rush the passer. I think the Cowboys, I think this is going to be a very good test for the Cowboys. This is why I'm so glad they're having this game first. This is the perfect game to me for the Dallas Cowboys. I really want to see, can they stand up against the pass rush like the Eagles? Because if they can, they'll be fine for the rest of the season. Jay Smooth said Miles Sanders can't stay healthy. Bring in Damian Martinez. Terrence said Greer's cut shocked the heck out of me. Terrence, I don't understand it. Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense to me at all. Bama boy, same thing I'm saying. Cut Sanders, go get Martinez. It's not even a thought for me. Cowboys wanted Damian Martinez. I am cutting that joker, and I am going and I'm cutting Miles Sanders and getting Damian Martinez. I am. Yep, still had some horrible games. We got to see what he is. Lisa Worley said, not another Pickens confused me. Okay, hold on. Eternal Dynasty said Martinez and Moff are the same players. Whew, I don't know. Yeah, you could be right, Eternal. They're both bruising type running backs, but I'd still want both of them in. Especially over Damian Martinez. Chanel said, especially over Miles Sanders. Chanel said, Will McClay and Jerry got to take blame for Boy, they got to be losing sleep at night to take Taco Charlton over TJ Watt. Boy, that is crazy. Boy, that is crazy to me. Boy, I couldn't even tell nobody that, man. Okay, the real estate LV, he said we need to go get Desmond Watson. I'm telling us, man, there are players out there. There is no doubt about it. Players are out there. Poopy D said, yeah, Martinez got beat up by number 36. Forgot his name. Poopy D, he must be good. He must be good. Or maybe Damian Martinez ain't what we thought he was. Mount City said they must got naked pictures of somebody, courtesy of Vachelor Party. Boy, they must got something. All right, let's go over to our last segment of the night, man. Very interested to hear what does Brian Broaddus have to say about this, about what the Cowboys have done. Definitely want to hear what Brian Broaddus has to say. Former scout of championship teams.
Big day of news, Brian. You give the Cowboys a thumbs up for everything they've done?
Yeah, so far so good. If Brian Schottenheimer, in fact, is talking about potentially claiming some guys, the roster could be different. I'm totally on board with what they're trying to do. Like we
called it a second draft.
Yeah, that's what it is. No, he is not wrong, and there's a couple of opportunities that are really, really good to add players.
Yeah.
Free agency this team doesn't always play in free agency, but when you start to talk about free agency, college free agency after the draft, that's the undrafted free agents. That's something the Cowboys have had some success in. So that was an opportunity. And then with the roster reductions and stuff like that, then you're able to dive into that. If you're a team that's not very good, and there's going to be some teams that are pretty talent poor. And I mentioned the Saints as a team. If you're one of those teams, you kind of look at your roster and you're thinking like, my God, there's people cutting better players than what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to be super aggressive and try and do everything you can do.
That's where I am too.
There's certain rules for how many guys you can claim and stuff like that, but there's teams that need to do this, and the Cowboys are kind of, I think, in a couple of spots. It's interesting what they did at cornerback. We're saying that only 5 guys, and with Carson being a guy that, they were saying, hey, he was coming along close, he was going to be close and all that, but he never played in the preseason at all.
And if you got to IR him and you're bringing back Goodwin, it's not like Goodwin really does.
Goodwin can't. Yeah, Goodwin can't. Yeah.
You don't have Diggs available, so you got Bland, Elam, Booth, and Childress. You got 4 corners that can suit up and play for you. So like Beanie Bishop just got cut from Pittsburgh, and that was a guy as a rookie, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery, and is a slot player. So they might have Zion Childress, and I'm fine with that, thinking that's going to be your guy. But him and then C.J. Okoye, the Nigerian nightmare from the Baltimore Ravens, who we talked about when they were playing them at defensive tackle. Like, there are some names out there that immediately will catch your eye and say, can the Cowboys jump in on these guys?
Yes.
Well, that's the thing, because Eric and I had a chance to, when the Ravens were in town.
Jerry Sandusky.
With a
G.
Jerry with a G.
Jerry with a G. And we were talking. I said, listen, I don't have any question. I just want to know about your defensive tackles.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And here's a guy that has size. He doesn't have a lot of experience. I mean, really none. But man, you talk about the power that he plays with, the point of attack, the size he has. The Ravens were going to be a team, and we talked about it earlier, that they're a team that might win the Super Bowl. We thought this was one of the deepest teams in the league.
Yeah.
And they were going to teams always say, "Oh, we're going to have to cut some, it's going to be tough. We're going to put some, it's going to be some difficult guys, difficult decisions and all." Now, the Ravens can actually say that because they will put some, because their roster is really that good.
They got a talented roster.
They're going to put some good guys on the street. So I do hope that the Cowboys do take advantage of their claiming spot. They picked 12th in the draft. So that means their claiming spot will be that spot and in that area until, I believe, week 4 of the NFL season. And then it goes to the teams with the worst record. So Dallas is in a spot where they can claim some guys that maybe, that they'll be ahead of some teams that behind them that can do that.
Looks like, what they've said about Okoye this offseason, they believe in his trajectory and praised how quickly he's ascended as part of that international player program. It's just a numbers game where they have such good starters and depth.
Yeah, they're hopeful to get him back on the practice squad. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm saying, sorry.
He ain't making the practice squad.
We're not letting you do that. He needs to start for us.
You'd be very excited to come to the Cowboys if you're a corner or a one technique right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it's not just all talk. That hey, that Will McClay and the pro guys and Alex Loomis and those guys over there can do a good job of.
Appreciate that super chat.
I know they've identified players that they're watching, teams that they've watched, and certain positions that they've watched. So let's hope.
I don't think it's talk, because I think this is one of the best things the Cowboys do by necessity. Like they have had to be really good at this, and I think they have showed they're absolutely willing to bring guys in and have competition for all spots at all times. I took Shotty at face value there. I thought the part where he was saying this is all collaborative and I've never been put in a situation where I got to fight with the organization because we have a conversation and agree to things. That was the only thing that made the BS meter shoot up a bit for me during that presser.
Yeah.
I think to me.
Yeah, we all kind of right there. That part right there. The collective decision. Come on, man. Make sure I get that. I'm going to get that soundbite next. Come on, man. In the words of Boosie. Come on, dog. You can't fool us with that conversation talking about, and then go bring up Bill Parcells. Come on, man. Hey, we ain't gonna hold it against you. We still riding with Brian. He's our man. I just think Brian gonna need another year to learn about being the coach of the Cowboys.
He was here when Mozzie Smith was drafted. So it's a little bit easier for him to probably side with the Joneses on this one. If he's a new coach, he would, if he was brand new to the system, and he would probably say, well, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But the fact he was here, there's things you have to do as a coach. Honestly, you have to know what battles to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fight every single battle. You can't. I don't know if I'm dying on the Mozzie Smith hill if I'm a coach, because I'm thinking there's other things I need to, there's other things I need to get done.
Especially if you're a coach with no skins on the wall, no experience. I don't think
But do you
Belichick or
understand-
Andy Reid standing around for that.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying about that? Like, there's certain things that you will absolutely just fight the Joneses on. I don't know if I'd fight the Joneses, and especially with the fact that you got Winfrey and some guys that you were Houston, Winfrey, there's some guys that can actually play.
Sure.
So I'm not fighting. There's other battles I'm going to need to try and win.
Here's what I would try to tell the Joneses, though. I'm trying to build something special here, and I need the guys to look at me like they got to impress me.
Yeah.
There can't be I'm good because Jerry likes me type of deal.
Exactly, 'cause
I
that's
think
what
that
Joe
does
Milton is.
Erode your authority.
I honestly feel like that, man, this is going to sound terrible, but I kind of feel like that maybe Tolbert might be in the same boat.
I am,
and I know
100%
Tolbert,
in line with
I
that,
say
man.
Tolbert because
Lisa Worley, close your ears. Didn't I say this earlier? Tolbert, kind of like a made man. Tolbert was acting like a made man. And there was some people kind of like looking side-eyed because Tolbert was kind of acting like a made man. And I said it earlier. He was a made man because the Cowboys really like Jalen Tolbert. It don't mean he's not good. Doesn't mean he's not good. But Jalen Tolbert, the reality is, now that we kind of look at this, Mingo was never in competition with Jalen Tolbert. I already kind of thought Jalen Tolbert was going to be the 3. I'd already said it before. But then we started seeing some of the things that Mingo was doing, and we was like, wow, why, yada, yada, yada. But the reality is I never thought Mingo was going to take Tolbert's spot. I thought it was going to get him some snaps. Never was going to take Tolbert's spot. And now Mingo is going to learn. Mingo is going to learn something about this league if he don't already know. Your best ability is availability. And I don't care where you think you can beat out Jalen Tolbert. If you can't stay on the field, you are not beating out Jalen Tolbert. You're not beating out Jalen Tolbert, and he's not going to beat out Jalen Tolbert because I believe Jalen Tolbert is going to have a very, 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 very good season with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not going to be shocked if we see 2 1,000-yard receivers in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a 800-yard-plus receiver in Jalen Tolbert. Probably going to see another 800 to 1,000 with Jake Ferguson. And then that's about what? About 3,800 yards. I'm predicting Dak Prescott is probably going to have about close to 5,000. So I'm going to give CeeDee Lamb probably around 13. George Pickens around 12, 13. CeeDee could even hit 14 or 15 depending upon just how bonkers him and Pickens go. And then spread that out amongst all the other little throws, receiver, running backs, Jaden Blue. Can't forget about Kevontae Turpin. I believe Kevontae Turpin, won't be surprised. Kevontae Turpin, 500-yard receiver. It won't shock me if Jalen Tolbert, with everything they have going on, Jalen Tolbert's going to have a great season. He's going to have a great season. And I think Mingo, again, is going to have a hard time beating him out because once they get going, Mingo will have to be worked back in, and that probably won't be until around the 6th or 7th game. And by that time, Cowboys going to be rolling. At least I believe they are. So, Jalen Tolbert, I told you earlier, made man. Jerry and those guys like him, and I can tell. And I'm starting to learn already. I can tell who Jerry likes by the way Brian Schottenheimer talks about him. And not just Jerry, but maybe that collective group. You can tell kind of what they're leaning towards because of the way you hear Brian talk. Even though Brian was talking good about one of the players that they cut, and I think that surprised everybody because he was talking about him. But yeah, Jalen Tolbert, Lisa Worley. Jalen Tolbert is a made man.
Say Tolbert because, you wonder, to be honest with you, I felt like the Brooks played really well this season.
And I think that Brooks has played well when he's given opportunities to.
I will say this, though.
Brooks played really well.
This Tolbert, I think, is when, and we asked this question, when Mingo's 4 weeks are up, I don't think this is about Ryan Flournoy or anything. I think this is about if Tolbert is not played up to snuff in 4 weeks, that's the roster spot I'm looking for right there.
No way.
Like they're gonna be, well, how does Mingo get back? That's
no
it.
way.
If we have 4 weeks from today and all of a sudden Tolbert has not done anything, but maybe he had one game and 3 just okay games. And then, because I know Coach even talked about what Ryan Flournoy did. I told you guys on special teams, just watch the tape.
Absolutely.
Watch him block on the crack the other day, throwing his body in there and doing some things. So I think Flournoy is going to. I think he's turned the corner on some of this stuff.
When you dig in and look at the film and some
Flournoy's
of the stuff
a
he's doing
beast.
on special teams, he's almost a can't.
And then he's getting open as a route runner, as a wide receiver. Like he's got a skill set that is special.
We would be talking about him if Joe Milton was just serviceable at times this preseason as a quarterback.
You hear what Brian Broder said? Y'all call me crazy you want to. Call me crazy you want to. Brian Broder said if Joe Milton was even serviceable, call me crazy you want to. I'm telling you, that Joe Milton thing stinks. And people talking about you hating on him. No, people get mad when you start talking football. People want to talk who they like. No, I'm not talking about who we like. I'm talking about football. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about football. And that Joe Milton thing stunk. And again, Tolbert, made man. But let's not kill Tolbert. Tolbert had a very good season last year if you look at those numbers for a number 3 wide receiver. Tolbert had some really good numbers. And the Cowboys are going to give Tolbert an opportunity again to continue to do what he's going to do. So I'm not agreeing with Brian on this thing though with Tolbert. If Tolbert isn't playing well, he's literally going to play. You're telling me they're going to let Mingo take Tolbert's roster? No. No way I'm believing that. No way I'm believing that. Not doing it. I am not believing. I am not believing this thing with I'm not believing that they're going to go to that extreme and knock Tolbert off. And I think he's going to have a very good year because I believe Dak Prescott's going to see to it. Dak Prescott is going to make sure that Tolbert is rewarded because Tolbert has been the kind of guy that's been faithful to the Cowboys and been faithful to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott likes Tolbert. Okay, I'm going to have a section on here when the season starts. Let's see what's on X. And let's see what's on X before we get out of here because Ace brought this up. Ace Wade 17 brought this up. Not the Sandusky thing. Yeah, boy, we don't even want to talk about that. He said he's sick of the fake Michael Parsons rumors. And so I just kind of glanced over here on X, and I want to go to this before we get up out of here. it looks like there is some issues going on to where people are maybe tampering with Michael Parsons. Attack on Cowboys is saying the Packers are tampering, and Mulugeta is trying to get Michael to a team with one of his other clients. Got it. It says, Ernie the Cowboys fan, breaking, I can confirm through sources that the Packers have indeed offered 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, a 5th-round pick for defensive end Michael Parsons, and they are offering $45 million per season. Man. Terrence Parsons, Michael Parsons' brother, said, I can't stress this enough. Jerry's not trading Michael Parsons. LOL. And it dang sure wouldn't be to the Packers team. Michael might be team. Michael might be their missing piece. Yeah, I don't believe it either. I do not believe it for a second that that's going to happen. Landon Holyfield says, Shotty is all but forecasting Mozzie being inactive week 1. Either that or I completely misinterpreted. No, he's not going to be inactive. I'm telling us now. The Cowboys are going to, they want to see what Mozzie is. And what better game to see what Mozzie is than to see him against the Philadelphia Eagles? He can shine. He can either rise or he can rise and shine, or the Cowboys can start having questions. Calvin Watkins said he had an hour-long conversation with Michael Parsons. And, man, Cowboy fans, I know y'all tired of hearing the Michael Parsons conversation. I'm not even going to say some stuff I could say. All I'm going to say is Michael Parsons gets signed. John Machota said, Brian, yeah, I'm just not doing the Brian shot. I'm not doing the Michael Parsons stuff today. Clarence Hill Jr. said Dallas needs to claim Okoye. Baltimore Ravens surprisingly released standout defensive tackle. This is exactly how the Cowboys got Jack Sanborn. Go get Okoye. Go get him. Everybody's talking about it. Go get this man. Okoye is 6'6", 300. Boy, you want to talk about the Cowboys defense getting great overnight. I'm talking great overnight. Can y'all imagine Okoye? Man, Okoye on this defensive line? It would be absolutely insane to have Okoye on this defensive line, man. To have this dude lining up with the edge rushers that we have, having him next to Osa Odigizua. Whoo! Man. Lisa Worley said, we got a nice offensive line. I think that's our strength. I really do think, especially Lisa, in the middle is where that line is super strong. The only thing we're wondering about is our tackles. It's the only thing we're wondering about. But boy, I am telling y'all, we put this dude 6'6", 370 pounds beside Oso Digizua. The boys are on to something. The boys are on to something. If I were them, I would definitely get this dude. Bruce said, dang on it, take that trade, Jerry. Sheesh. Man. Oh, you talking about the Wolf agreement? Hey, Bruce, boy, you know what's crazy? I don't think Jerry will trade Michael. But I'll tell you this. David Mulugeta ain't got no love for any team. David Mulugeta, I guarantee you, he's keeping that possibility in the mind of Michael Parsons. Don't rule out a trade. I'm just telling us now. Michael Parsons and anybody else can tell me anything they want to. The biggest mistake that Michael Parsons will make in his life is leaving the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of Michael Parsons' persona, it is not just on the field. Michael Parsons' persona is being a Dallas Cowboy. No one's paying attention to Michael Parsons no more except on the field. It is the only place anybody will ever talk about him again is on the field if he leaves the Dallas Cowboys. And even then, he's going to have to be successful. And even when they talk about him, it won't even be a long conversation. It won't. It won't even be a long conversation. Unless he's talking about the Cowboys or he's getting ready to play the Cowboys. Other than that, it'll be nothing. What do you guys think about Shiloh Sanders coming to the Cowboys? Coming to the Cowboys to the practice squad. What do y'all think about that? Shiloh Sanders coming to the Cowboys practice squad. I would love to see Shiloh Sanders on the Cowboys. I think Shiloh Sanders can play this game. I think that him and his brother are up under tremendous pressure, being the sons of Deion Sanders, because it is not only people that are against him, but I think there are players against him, because that what the guy did to Shiloh Sanders, it doesn't justify Shiloh punching him. Really dirty, though. Really dirty in the grand scheme of things. He knew what he was doing. Pretty dirty in the grand scheme of things. But Shiloh's got to be smarter than that in this league. I'm pretty sure his father knows way more than me. And I'm sure Deion is telling him, son, you're going to have to do better than that. Can't let these people provoke you into doing dumb stuff, because the truth is they want to provoke you and your brother into doing dumb stuff. Dylan Gabriel knows full well that he was talking bad about Shedeur Sanders, talking about there are entertainers and there are competitors. Stop it, bro. We true to this. We ain't new to this. We know when you talking about us. Come on, man. We know when you talking about us. So they're going to have to learn. But nevertheless, I would love to see Shiloh Sanders on the Cowboys practice squad. Bama Boy said, not the Giants. It's getting harder in our division now. Come on, Jerry. We slipping quickly. Man, get Okoye. Get him. Because I'm telling us. I am definitely hearing that this doggone New York Giants defensive line is incredible. My High City said passing on Randy Moss still hurts me to this day. And Jerry admitted as much in the documentary. It was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Yeah, Demetrius, yeah, the video about Mike and the Packers, crazy. Crazy. I still don't think they're giving up enough. They're drafting way too high for the They're drafting way too low for the Cowboys to even consider it. If they were a terrible team, maybe you consider it. I don't think Jerry's considering it. The only way I think Jerry's considering it is, only way I think Jerry would consider it is that Michael Parsons would have to raise such a stink that Jerry would just say, I'm done with this bull, and then maybe then he would do it. But other than that, I don't see it. Daniel said, gee, I wouldn't go to X right now. They're talking nonsense on the Micah thing in the Packers. Yeah, I saw it. I just went there. Yeah, it's much ado about nothing. Michael Parsons, I do believe Michael Parsons will be signed very soon. Ice Cold Cowboy said, we sweeping them boys. He said, we sweeping the New York Giants. I'm rolling with you, Ice Cold Cowboy. Real Estate LV, he said, brief seg. He said, where you get that sweater, G? I got the sweater from Fashion Nova. Them boys at Fashion Nova have NFL merchandise. They got some nice little swag over there. I'm interested to see what do they have coming up this year. Yeah, that bad boy got the star sewed in on it. It's nice, man. Nice. I've been had it for a minute too, man, and it's held up real good in the washing machine. Time for me to get some new fits, though. Season getting ready to start. I'm gonna have to order me some new fits for the new season. Get this thing going. Go Dodger said Will Greer's out right now, but he will 100% be on the roster by opening day. They're doing something weird with his release. They have every intention on bringing him back. Yeah, I'm thinking he's probably going to be on the practice squad, because you can't have an emergency quarterback, right? Brandon says, still, you let them hurt my quarterback, you might as well square up. I feel you on that. Yeah, I'm telling you, boy, Jerry could do this thing with a Okoye. It'd be great. It would be great. Miss Matrix said exactly. Carry 3 quarterbacks, especially with your number 2. I am. Y'all already know I'm with you. I am with you. Uncle Charles, what up, Unc? He said, salute. Jerry Jones ain't going to do that, man. He does not want to improve this team. Jerry Jones is happy with what he got. Boy, I tell you what, I hope he proves you wrong. I absolutely hope he goes out there and gets us a 1-tech. I hope he gets us a 1-tech. Oh, yeah, boy. Hey, Alfonso. Man, when they brought up them White House stories in that Netflix thing, I said, boy, they done went here. Woo! Mark Brown said, gee, I wonder what was Dak thought over the non-competitive position. His legacy on the backup, too. If something happens to him for a short spell. Mark Brown, I would love to know what he thought. I'm with you. I'd love to know. Mile High City said, funny how the Cowboys suck, but they love to poach players from us, though. Man, Cowboys are very good at personnel. I really think they are. They do some bad ones, too. But I do think they are. I do think that they are. I do think they do very good personnel. All right, let me get some more in here. Uncle Charles, he said, Jerry ain't gonna spend another penny. He's cheap. He said we could have got Randy Moss, but he got Greg Gillis. Boy, Jerry have nightmares about that one, man. Jerry have nightmares about that one. Hallelujah. He said, I've said it a bunch. As much as we want to beat the Eagles, I do too. But we need to use it as a 4th preseason game and make the necessary adjustments to make a deep playoff run and hopefully a Lombardi. Hallelujah. This is going to set the pace. There is no better game that the Cowboys could have played than the Philadelphia Eagles. You got a team that can stop the run. You got a team that can rush the passer. You got a team that can run the ball. You want to see what your team is about? This is the team you want to play. This is the team you want to play. It tells you everything you need to do. I'm glad the Cowboys are playing them the first game because I also want the Cowboys to get punched in the face. I want them to get punched in the face because I want to see what they do after they get punched in the face. And if there is a team that is about to punch the Cowboys in the face, I believe it's the Eagles. And if the Cowboys respond well, if everything that Brian Schottenheimer has been preaching, because I've said this once, I'm going to say it again. Talent is not sustainable. It fluctuates. But if you can create a culture and a mentality, you can keep a stable culture for 10 or 15 years and do some incredible things over that time. And so the issue is, I want to see how much has Brian really gotten in their mind. I want to see how much he's gotten in their mind because I'm telling you, the talent is there. The talent is there. This is a game. I want to see how these coaches coach together. This is a game. I want to see, if we get behind, how do they respond in this first game? And again, hallelujah, we haven't even seen the starters play together one time this season. So this is all going to be, this is the perfect opening game for the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, sir. It's the perfect opponent. I do. Andrew says, stop it with these Super Bowl winning coaches that didn't win one in Dallas. Stop it. Bill Parcells is a Super Bowl winning coach. It doesn't matter if he didn't win one in Dallas. Bill Parcells is a Super Bowl winning coach. And the problem in Dallas is Bill Parcells, contrary to what Brian Schottenheimer is saying, what Bill Parcells said rings true. Bro, you can't try to put me on the hook for winning and losing if you're not going to let me choose any of the players. Let me choose some of the players. You have got to let me choose. I'm not saying you got to let me choose them all. You got to let me choose some of the players. Robert M31 said the high mentality on X right now regarding Parsons is wild. For it to be nothing, it sure seems like something. Robert M, it's a lot of smoke. I can tell you that much. They say where it's smoke, there's fire. So either somebody got a spray can of smoke or there's some fire. I tell you this, I do believe the Green Bay Packers is trying to offer the Cowboys what they call a king's ransom. I think they are trying to offer the Cowboys that. I just don't think the Cowboys are going to take it. Because the Green Bay Packers, one, we haven't beaten them. We didn't beat them not one time. We hadn't beaten them We didn't beat them up under Mike McCarthy. They beat us in 2016. They beat us in 2014. Jerry Jones would probably lose his mind before he would actually allow them to have Micah Parsons, and then he come back and destroy us in the playoffs. Nah, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. I don't believe it. I'm not believing it for a second. I'm not. All right, I'm gonna read a few more of my comments. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. We are quickly approaching, I'm thinking 17,000. I think we're approaching 17,000. Let's keep this thing going. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. This channel is only what it is because of you guys. Okay, we're approaching 16,000. I'm sorry. We're approaching 16,000. Y'all keep pushing. 15,824. Let's keep pushing it. I want to make a huge surge. Also, too, y'all make sure if you see that hype button on this video, hit that hype, HYPE. Hit the hype button. This is something brand new that YouTube is doing. Hit the HYPE button. If you push the hype button, YouTube will push this video out even further. The hype button, HYPE. If you see the hype button, please push that button. All right, let's read a couple more before I get up out of here. Robert says, if they're really going to improve this team, it has to be between now and week 4. Yes. After that, it's much, much harder. Yes, I agree with you. And I'm telling you now, the first opportunity the Cowboys get to get a Coy, they need to get him. Katharina Kiss, Micah's going nowhere. I agree with you. Demetrius said the agent has to go, man. He's destroying the teams, lining his pockets. Yeah. Yeah, he's a shrewd operator. Shrewd operator. Yeah, Robert M. Current cap space is around 32 million. Justin Hovey, they need to pay Micah Parsons. They are. The only thing Jerry is saying, he's not paying David Mulugeta. A lot of people are missing that. He's saying, I'm not paying David Mulugeta. Hallelujah said an NFL player not having an agent is like going to trial without a lawyer. Jerry don't have a problem with him being the agent. Jerry's already said, let him look over the deal, make sure everything is legit. Jerry's just saying something, but I will not increase that dollar amount, and I'm not giving David Mulugeta I'm not giving you more money just to give to David Mulugeta. People aren't hearing what Jerry is saying. Jerry has clearly said he doesn't have a problem with this man looking over the contract. He's just saying, but what I'm not doing is moving on that money. Brady said, Mulugeta go poof with boof. I'm with you. Yes, yes. Shotty, come on, man. Yeah. Yeah. Poopy D said he can't get rid of his representation. That's like going to court with no lawyer. No, don't get rid of your representation. Or get your new representation. You don't have to get, it's not that you don't need representation. Get your new representation. But nevertheless, Jerry's already saying, I've already offered him a king's ransom. I'm not going up another dollar. And from what my understanding is, even Michael Parsons' own family is on Jerry Jones' side. That, I don't know if it's true. I can't confirm nor deny. I'm just telling you what I've heard. That even Jerry's own family, and if you go and read Terrence Parsons, Michael Parsons' brother, go read some of his tweets. Go read some of his tweets. Because if you are understanding stuff he's saying, he's basically saying that Jerry is right. He's saying Jerry is right. I'm just telling you. I believe Michael needs a new agent. Poopy D, 11-6. Poopy D, I'm thinking 11-6, between 11-6 and 13-4. And it all depends on where we are by the middle of the season. Because I'm telling you, when Overshawn come back and we healthy, we gonna be a monster. Miss Major said, yeah, I got timed out on another channel a couple of seasons ago. That's big in this space just for saying that Bills game was over at halftime. I refuse to go back over there now. Don't worry, you gotta worry about getting timed out over here, Miss Matrix. We got you. We got you. Yeah, Demetrius, I'm with you. We really have to stop falling in love with these players. Y'all did the same with Zeke. Yeah, man. Cowboys brought Zeke back up in here. People were arguing that Zeke wasn't washed. Zeke ain't bad. Zeke ain't this. You don't have to be washed not to be good enough to be a starting running back in the league. Ice Cold says 1,700 for CD. I wouldn't be surprised. That man's gonna be a monster. 1,200 for GP. Yes, sir. That's 3,900. 700 for Ferguson. That's 47. Wait a minute. I'm wrong on my math on it. Wait, let me go back. Now you got me doing. I'm doing my math in my head. I'm doing math in my head, Ice Cold. I'm trying to get them numbers right in my head. Hold on a second. Okay, you said 1,700. And then you said 1,700 and 1,200. That's 2,900. Okay, there we go. 2,900. Then you said Ferguson, Ice Cold. 2,900. That'll be 3,600. All right, give me some more because you know they're going to do more than that. All right, let me see. Lee Time said, remember Jalen Ramsey started faking a back injury at Jacksonville. Woo, yes, sir. He ended up in L.A., the same agent that Parsons has now. And again, we all know you can't really measure back pain. They've already let him have an MRI. There's nothing there. Nothing there. All right, let's see here. Chanel said, G, Mingo's 100% better than Tolbert. Come on, man. G, don't die on the Jalen. I'm not consistent Tolbert. Man, he's a made man. Chanel, I'm telling you, he's a made man. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't doing nothing with Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert is the made man in the Cowboys' eyes. Yeah, Christopher Church. Turp gonna get time, bro. Turp probably gonna get 500 yards on his own. And all-purpose yards, shoot, Turp gonna hit 1,000. Turp gonna hit 1,000. Between kickoff returns, punt returns, out of the backfield, and in the passing game. Jason, what's going on? Lewis, Jason Lewis, Cool Joe in the house. That's John Tyler back in the day. Tyler, Texas, what's going on? Like the roster. Wish we could have kept the undrafted receiver. Hopefully he cleared waivers. I don't think he is. I don't think he is, Jason. But again, hey, what you think about a Coy? I want the Cowboys to go get a Coy. I do. Got to go get him. All right, let's get a couple more in before we get out of here. Yeah, Poobie D. Boy, I would not be surprised. Dak Prescott, 50 touchdowns. I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. Yeah, Flournoy has no breakaway speed. Flournoy, though, to me, Chanel, tell me what you think, but he's more of a possession receiver. I think it's one of the reasons why the Cowboys like him. Possession receiver, real tough. Demetrius, that wouldn't surprise me either. It wouldn't surprise me either because I think George Pickens is going to get a lot of chunk yardage. Chunk yardage. Ron Hanna said, wow, serviceable. And he's the quarterback too. That's what Brian Schottenheimer said, and that is crazy to me. That's crazy. Yeah, Poobie D, CD can line up everywhere. Yeah. CD gonna take another step. Man, I'm gonna tell you, these guys are gonna be so good. I'm hoping they both somewhere around 13, 14, 1,500. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. All right, Katharina Kiss, good night. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. I got started late today. It's already 10 o'clock. So we're going to go ahead and get on off here. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. And tomorrow we will be back. Man, there was something going on in the background to where I couldn't even upload videos earlier today. So hopefully that is all settled now. Everything seems to be good. Got on live. So again, we will be back tomorrow at 4:30 with more Cowboys news. Again, guys, get excited about this season. We are talking about, in the grand scheme of things, backups because we haven't seen the starters. I believe our starters are going to be incredible, and I am not going to be surprised if the Cowboys absolutely blow the doors off the Philadelphia Eagles next Thursday. But we got to get there. Time to see this stuff on the field. No more talking. It's time to get them pads crack-a-lacking. And until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Let's talk Cowboys where we talk facts. Peace.